on YouTube, purple if you're on Twitch. One thing I want to talk about real quick is we are also on all the audio platforms as well. You should see it in this graphic here. Literally, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, iHeartRadio. If you guys listen to podcasts on a platform and you notice we're not on that platform, hit me up on social media, email me, whatever. Make a comment on the YouTube. Let us know, because I want to make sure that we can have the podcast on the audio side wherever you guys listen. I also have some announcements to make. I'm super excited about this. Last couple months I've been super hard at work trying to get this album done for you guys. And the people who are going to get first access to this, I put the link right here. That's going to be the people in the Patreon. So make sure you guys are aware of that. Go to patreon.com/JaredSingerLive. You get first access to everything as we start doing some cooler and cooler shit this summer, as well as bonus content, discounts on merch and stuff like that as we start to roll all that kind of stuff out. So make sure you go there. That's where the biggest support is. If you've already subscribed, if you've already done that and you want to step it up a notch, you can join for as low as $3 a month. It's not a lot of money, especially with inflation going up. I didn't raise my prices. Still $3 a month. And there's a couple other tiers in there too if you really want to go crazy. All right, we got some ad reads we got to make. Let's get this done. This episode of the podcast and every podcast we do here is sponsored by Tone Vault Audio and Media. Tone Vault Audio and Media was formed as a recording studio business by musicians in active gigging bands. Doing work over the years in multiple facilities as well as in a mobile fashion, simultaneously while playing in live gigging bands, the Tone Vault staff has developed the experience to know why quality, performance, and longevity of cables is important, as well as the demands needed for a great go-to top-of-the-line product for all your professional project needs, as well as live music application. We tried all kinds of cables, and of course we have our favorites. They, however, tend to have a price point that's not so favorable. So we decided to craft our own and make it a little bit more wallet friendly without sacrificing quality. We use these cables ourselves for our studio and music projects, and that includes me. My entire drum set is wired up with these, and we're currently in the process of rewiring the entire podcast studio. They offer a lifetime warranty with a 30-day, zero-risk, money-back guarantee. If you don't like them within that first month, just return them. After that 30 days, it's a lifetime warranty, just like any of the other big names. 24 karat gold contacts, 99% oxygen free. You know the deal. They're absolutely phenomenal. Extravaganza listeners can also use the code 15SINGER, that's 15SINGER, for an extra 15% off any purchase. So go to www.tone-vault.com/JSE and join the Tone Vault family today. This episode of the podcast is also sponsored by Marco V Cigars, the official cigar of the Jared Singer Extravaganza. In 1909, an Italian immigrant named Victor Vito landed on American soil. Despite only having pennies to his name, Victor smoked a cigar to honor his pursuit of opportunity and success. Starting with that first cigar, tradition was born. In the Vito family, cigars came to represent pride and accomplishments and optimism for the future, and they still do. More than a century later, Victor Vito's great-grandson Marco honors his heritage with Marco V Cigars. Marco and his team's commitment to quality, flavor, and construction have established the company as a premier boutique cigar brand. Every step in the Marco V cigar making process is shaped by a drive for perfection. Farmers in the Dominican Republic and Nicaragua tend to their crops by hand, and the planting, harvesting, and curing are carefully guided by Marco V's tobacco experts. Dedicated research and testing have resulted in a leaf that cures with a rich, complex flavor. Each blend is aged for years to enhance the tobacco's deep natural sweetness, and every bale is inspected 6 times before the cigars are rolled by hand, never put through a machine. Quality still comes from the hands of the artisans. After a final inspection, the cigars are packed and shipped around the world. Overseeing the entire supply chain guarantees that every Marco V cigar yields the perfect celebratory smoke. Victor Vito's 1909 cigar represented pride in himself and his achievements. More than a century later, Marco V honors Victor's legacy with the highest quality cigars on the market. Create your own tradition, salute your achievements and your successes with Marco V cigars. Exclusive for Jared Singer Extravaganza listeners, just for you guys, same deal, baby. Go to marcovcigars.com and use checkout code Extravaganza15 to get an extra 15% off of your order. You can order my personal favorite, which is their Palladium, or you can order what I'm smoking on right now, which is their Maduro House Blend. Extremely affordable to begin with, and y'all get another 15% off this motherfucker. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Bud Ingram Lyle Photography. Bud is a photographer specializing in working with bands, both onstage and offstage. His goal is to catch those special images that reflect the dynamic nature of live music, catching badassery since 1886. He also does portrait work of all kinds, photographing solo models or groups in his studio or on location. And yes, you can afford him. Okay, does all of my work. Extremely great guy, very easy to work with, extremely professional. Go to www.bilphoto.com now and book your photo shoot today. Book's out about 60 to 90 days, so whenever you're listening to this, just make sure that you understand you can't book him for this weekend's gig, you guys. This episode of the podcast is also sponsored by Shooter Lube. Yeah, baby, we're back. Shooter Lube's back, baby. 2-stage cleaning system, military-grade cleaning solvent. The new technology has you cleaning your gun better than ever. Our solvent is designed to penetrate deep into the metal, cleaning carbon buildup in less time than other leading solvents. The extreme weapons oil, that's the second stage. Standard gun lubricants and CLPs are outdated and a thing of the past, you guys. With the new cutting-edge technology, we're creating a new level of protection and lubricant. Unlike other gun oils that just sit there on the surface, extreme weapons oil penetrates deep into the pores of the metal. It forms a bond on and in the metal that does not wipe off, wear off, melt, or evaporate with heavy use. There's free shipping on orders over $50 within the United States, and there's a 100% money-back guarantee on all items. So join the revolution by going to www.shooterlube.com and use promo code SINGER to save 15% at checkout today.
You know, we're going to change it.
I think you're right, though. We are a super young country, and we did fix a lot of those issues in a very short amount of time. I never really thought about it that way, but you're definitely 100%
It's a
correct.
fun point to throw out in an argument with the intellectually challenged.
Scoot this way a little bit.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect.
There we go. Yeah. Oh, there's your foot. There's your foot.
To the danger zone.
That movie fucking ruled, by the way.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers,
Glad to have you
brother.
back.
Indeed.
Indeed. You look great.
You look great.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I just want to get this over with so we can fuck.
I've just always wanted to say that. Somebody's like, you look good. Be like, I know.
I know.
It's like that scene from Joe Dirt. I want to do I want that to happen someday. Where somebody's like, hey, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I'm cool. And I just go, no, you're not. No, you're not. Not because I think it's funny to be a dick. It's just because if it's funny, it's worth it. That's what it really is. It's like, I'm sorry.
Dude, that's how I feel about pretty much everything. Like, I don't care how offensive, whatever. It just has to be funny.
Including if I'm the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
Like you and Rain. You and Rain used to say some crazy shit to me when we were in a band together. And what would I do? I'd do one of two things. I'd either start laughing hysterically, or I would go along with it as the heel and be like, man, fuck you guys. And then I'd like pretend I was all upset and shit. But you guys knew I wasn't mad because my body language. Like, that's not how an actual upset person, that's what a bad actor does when they're pretending to be upset. Like, you guys fucking know. But no, man, I'm excited to have you back, dude.
Hell yeah, dude. I think this is number 4. Well, this is probably number, I don't know what it is.
I don't count, so
yeah. I was thinking about it the other day.
I can't count past 4 as a drummer, so I don't really.
I think, I don't know. I guess if you include the times that I just like hopped on with other people, this is probably like number 6 at this point.
Oh, by the way, Patrick's coming into town.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I was thinking of, oh, that's right. You don't, you don't watch the Josta podcast, but I was thinking about it today. I was like, I'm your Hojo, because Howard Jones is like, he's kind of like, he shows up either.
I was just showing up in there.
Yeah, like either his own podcast or like, hey, drop in on the fucking podcast with these other 2 dudes, you know, like.
Speaking of, you started your own podcast finally.
Yes.
Called Don't Be That Guy.
Don't Be That Guy.
Which I immediately, as soon as you told me what it was called, I felt personally attacked. I was like, what's he trying to say? Is he trying to give me advice already? No.
We'll see.
Jokes aside. What is your fucking podcast actually going to be about? Because it's extremely
vague.
Specific, but yes, vague.
It is. It's specific yet vague.
Extremely vague and extremely specific with that title. Like a lot of assumptions are going to be made. Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Knowing you, I was like, man, what does this actually mean though? Because I know what I assume it might mean.
Yeah.
Right?
It's one of those.
What does it mean?
It's one of those things where like I'm kind of torn because it's like it's almost like writing lyrics, right? Like, do you want to just leave it up to interpretation to the listener or the receiver, or do you want to say what it is, right? So what I can do, I can tell my truth. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you're done. We're ending this. I'll see you guys later. Have a good night. It's been great. This is Jeremy Blake, episode number 5. See you guys.
My truth. Anyways, no, fucking, yeah. So for me, it's kind of it's gonna be it'll be a little fluid. I think like each guest will kind of determine what "don't be that guy" means, you know. But the high level overview of it is it's essentially that I guess like I'll say for sure, like I want to make it very clear that it's not one of those like red pill woman hating podcasts or whatever. There's a million of those out there. So it's
hold on, slow down. People don't know what you mean. Red pill woman hating. What? Because I know what you're talking about, but explain it to people. What that actually means.
Okay, so there's like
I know what I think it means.
There's kind of like this influx, and I'm just saying it like at least what I know of it. There's kind of been this influx of like a lot of podcasts and content, I guess, sort of that's like this whole like I don't know. I'm paraphrasing. I should say I'm cheapening it by calling it women hating, but there's a lot of podcasts out there that are kind of just like. I would, in my opinion, they would be very like irrational, sort of like men are here, women are here kind of thing. It's sort of this. Like, I was gonna say, it seems like it's a spectrum, and what you're talking about is the far right of this spectrum. Yeah, the far right of the red pill is like women belong in the kitchen, blah 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 blah. But there's some other shit. Way to the other side where it's like it's just very traditional alpha male, manly men, fucking traditional roles, you know, like. And I don't, and like, don't get me wrong, like I don't think there's anything wrong spectrum, with it's definitely a but most of it skews to what you were saying, not what I'm talking about. And even the stuff that's kind of like it just seems like there's a lot of I don't know. There's a lot of those type of podcasts where it seems like essentially what they do is they get these like Instagram model type girls on there who clearly don't have a lot of depth. Are you talking about Fresh and Fit? That's one of them. And then they use like, you know, the worst representative of, you know, that gender. And then they're like, see, they're fucking stupid, you know? And then red pill guys, they're like, red pill means like, oh, I don't, you know, like I don't, whatever. Care about women anymore, kind of, you know, and they're all like Fresh and Fit are a couple of tool bags though. Those guys are actual tools, and fuck those guys. They're giving a lot of bad advice to a lot of young men. Those guys are fucking toxic, bro. They are fucking serious. They're diseased human beings. Those two are diseased guys. They need help. Like they probably lacked good male father figures in their lives, which I did as well, but we responded to these things in two very different ways. Those guys went power-hungry pussy maniacs, and I was a pussy hound for a while too myself, but I saw the darkness in that as well. Like, that's not exactly a healthy lifestyle. You and me both, brother. There's toxicity in that too. These guys, they're young, and I think they're too young to be giving anybody advice at all, let alone from a station like you know, this is what it means, you know. And so like I mean, I guess to walk it back a little bit, you know, long story short, I was kind of looking at like how old are they? Seriously, I guarantee you they're less than 30, both of them. They gotta be, the way if you're less than 30, don't give anybody advice. The way they talk kind of feels like they are, because you know they feel like they're in their mid-20s. And I'll admit, like, you know, I've seen some of their stuff, like they'll make a good point, but then they derail right away. And for me, at the end of the day, with them, I think that makes me kind of like, above all else, is like, if what you're saying and your idea is so like strong, then invite strong women on there to challenge you. Don't invite these Instagram models who are not going to be able to formulate a complete or coherent sentence. You know what I mean? And that's who they bring on, and then they're like, see, but whatever. I mean, there's a fucking niche for everybody, but my main thing is I was kind of to put it bluntly, no, dude, they're 35 and 32. Oh, the fucking those dudes. Well, one of them fucks is only 3 years younger than me, but that is actually extremely discouraging because like they're making all this money. This is what fucks with my head, right?
is like, how do these toxic human beings, and I got some pretty shitty traits. I mean, and I'm going to tie this back into what your show is about, right? But like, and I'm not trying to like, oh, let me make this about me, but I just want to admit this as I'm about to throw out some serious accusations about character, right? Like, I know right now, still to this day, I have extremely horrible traits that I'm still working on, and this podcast has been one of the best things for me.
Keyword is working on.
I cringe like all the time anytime I watch any podcast of that I've done or been on. Dude, there's something where I just like, I cringe and I'm like, oh my God.
I rewatch the ones that I've been on with you and I'm like, oh God, why did I say that? You know, like,
or why did I say it that way? Or like, that sounded funnier when I said it.
Yeah.
That does not sound funny when I hear it.
Or that I do this all the time. Yeah. I do that I didn't know that was like a thing of me until I started rewatching because so my thing that I ended up
like affirming and acknowledging.
Yeah, but I'm always like, like in that same annoying way.
And you're talking a specific Justin. Got you. Yeah.
Because like, and the dumb thing too is I rewatch the podcast that I'm on specifically to make sure that I didn't like make an ass of myself, which is so stupid because you can't change it, right?
Well, you guys know me though. Like, if there was a serious problem, you could call me and I would delete the episode.
Yeah.
Is what I won't do is edit a part out. That's what you got. That's the only thing you guys got to know is that if you make that phone call, the answer is always going to be yes, but that means the whole episode gets deleted. Because I'm not editing out your fuck up.
Yeah.
I will say, dude, I'm your boy. You came on my show. If you feel you said or did something wrong, we will fucking delete it. Like, but we're not editing it. For real. I'm not going to say his name, but it's actually happened twice where somebody came on and it was before we fucking did them live.
Oh, okay.
It was when we would like do them and then I had to upload them. And they fucking called me and they were like, dude, is that up yet? And I was like, no, not yet. And they were like, can you edit this part out? I was like, no, I'll delete it. And they were like, dude, I swear to God, I'll come back and do another one tomorrow and we can just do the whole thing over again. I was like, yeah, okay. And that's exactly what we did. So like,
I was going to say, to me, it's live. Once it's out there, you know, and like, and I present myself as who I am. And if somebody, you know, if I misrepresent that sometimes, I'm just human. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's it.
No, I know exactly.
But you know what I mean? I don't know where the fuck I was going with that. But
neither do I.
I don't remember what brought us down that path. Actually.
So I'm gonna bring this back
about growing, about like watching podcasts.
Exactly, and like this is what I was saying. So I'll weave this back too. So I want to admit I have some extremely horrible parts of my personality, character flaws, things I say, the way I come off. Like, dude, I got so much to work on. I thought I was doing well. I'm way behind. Like, I am socially remedial at this point. Like
remedial.
Like, I get it, bro. I get it. Now I understand what everybody's criticized me about for 20 years. I get it now. I get it. It took me a year and a half of doing a podcast, and I get it. And it hurts. It fucking hurts, dude. Because you're all right. You've always all been right. But Fresh and Fit are significantly worse because they're giving super toxic advice. Like, I am definitely the kind of pick yourself up by your bootstraps kind of guy, you know, like, because honestly, I've helped a lot of people. I really have. I've done a lot of charity. I've done that shit, and rarely does it actually fucking help. Giving people money and just doing shit for people rarely actually helps them better their life. The only time I really think you should do that is when people literally can't do shit, like for the disabled and the elderly and shit. That's where, like, we should really be doing that shit. But this whole idea that, like, if we just give this person money, all his problems, no, that's why lottery winners go bankrupt. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of shit. So, like, but what they're doing and saying is they're giving young men advice in an extremely destructive and toxic way, in both something that I would refer to as internal towards themselves and external towards the men and women they're going to interact with over because I think the only people that could possibly even be genuine fans of Fresh and Fit are either extremely young impressionable men or incels or guys that are exactly like that. And it's just like an echo chamber type deal. And that's not good, because as much as I hate the phrase toxic masculinity, because I don't think that's a real thing.
Yeah,
I don't think that exists.
I agree.
Because if you want to say toxic masculinity exists, then we need to acknowledge that the possibility of toxic femininity exists. And that's even more hilarious.
Which is funny because, like, I've had that discussion and it's like, hey, well, tell me what makes a masculinity, what could be toxic masculinity, in the list of things. And then, well, what would be toxic for a female to do in the list of things? I'm like, it's the same things. Can we just call it toxic?
Exactly.
Can we even remove toxic? Because that's been you're just a fucking asshole.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, that's
the only thing that's different about being an asshole and being toxic is being toxic spreads.
Yeah,
it is. It's like insidious and it's like a disease.
I agree. It's just one of those things. You know how it works. It's like these names get or whatever, and then it becomes like It like dilutes what you're trying to say.
So to bring this back. Mm-hmm. If toxic masculinity was a genuine, actual thing, Fresh and Fit are the epitome of it.
Yeah.
They're just assholes. They're greedy. They're not very bright. They might be like technologically savvy, but when it comes to like philosophy, ethics, morals, principles, they're not very wise. Like, they are definitely young souls. At 35, they're still frat boys.
To me, they seem kind of like... I guess like that hustler mentality. That's just kind of their jam a little bit.
So riff on that, because we were talking about that earlier, the difference between a hustler and somebody who's on the grind.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when I think of it, sometimes even on the grind, I kind of cringe a little bit at it. But like, I guess I kind of look at it as like, I'm going to be successful and it doesn't matter how I get there or who I affect. That's what I think of when people talk about like, like that type of thing, sort of that the hustle, whatever. And like, I don't know, that's just my perception or whatever. I mean, I'm whatever, but like, that's what I see is just sort of the like, just at any cost, success at any cost.
Sure.
As opposed to like success while also like retaining, I don't know, like your integrity.
So the grind is the work ethic, maintaining your integrity, and all of that shit. Mm-hmm. But the hustle is what you're kind of like. To me,
yeah. I mean,
like you'll step on people to get there.
Yeah, and
they used to say he'd sell his own mother down the river. He'd sell his own mother down the river to get his deli off the blocks.
And of course, I mean, there's also people that they'll call it the hustle, but it's not.
It's all just bullshit.
Or I mean, they might call it the hustle, but they are being cool or whatever. So I mean, whatever. But in generally speaking,
that's how you use those words. That's what I'm getting at.
When I hear it, I use, or if I apply it to somebody, it's usually that type
that's what
of
I was getting
person.
At,
yeah, and so
because where we're at in the country, this drastically changes. Where we're at in the world, these definitions drastically change.
Yeah,
I mean, fuck, dude. I don't even want to get into a whole sidebar on this, but I want to bring this back to what we're talking about. So when you say, I'm going to name my show, Don't Be That Guy, you're not going full libtard.
No, definitely not.
But you're also not an actual full-blown red pill right-winger.
God, no.
So how are you like finding a niche within this idea? So basically explain to people what you're doing and then explain to where it fits in that niche.
Yeah. So first off, the whole don't be that guy thing. Obviously it's like whatever. It's a phrase that we've all heard. So there's name recognition. And I was really surprised that it wasn't taken. So I was like, I'm going to snag that. And
you're not that guy, pal.
But then on top of that, I kind of felt like just saying, hey, don't be that guy. Like, dude, that can be open to so much interpretation, right? It can be, don't be that fucking soy boy white knight. It could also be, don't be that fucking, I'm trying so hard to be alpha, but really I'm not alpha. And you can tell because I wear a shirt that says I do alpha shit. You know what I mean? Like, so it could apply to so many different things. And for me, what really was the catalyst. So most of my ideas come usually when I'm at the gym. Because, endorphins are going, dopamine spike, whatever, right? And then you're just like, oh my God, I'm going to do this. Usually by the time I get home from the gym, I'm like, that's probably not a good idea. I come back down. This popped into my head while I was at the gym. And then when I got home, I was like, I'm kind of into this, right? And so I was thinking, it's so stupid, but I was thinking back to when I first started riding motorcycle. I didn't start riding until I was like early 30s, so pretty late in my life.
I actually remember this.
Yeah. And so when I was first starting, it's like, I don't know how to ride. I didn't ride dirt. I didn't ride jack shit. I had 4 wheels. That's what I did. And so I was like, so I got a helmet. I got like riding pants. I mean, I wasn't dressed like a fucking dork, but I was making sure that if I wiped out, I was going to keep my skin on my body and hopefully my brain in my head, right? And then like, as I was talking to friends of mine, acquaintances, I would say, about it's like every one of them was like, oh, you fucking pussy. When I started riding, I just hopped on my bike and I didn't even wear a helmet and I was going night. You know what I mean? It was just all this like who are you trying
all
to
this
fucking
macho bullshit?
And it was kind of like, who are you trying to convince that you're a badass? Because you're not convincing me.
And that's the thing. We've already had a word for toxic masculinity, which isn't a thing. We've called this, that's macho bullshit. That's what we've always called it. Like, listen, tough guy, cool.
And I want the ladies out there to know, like, yeah,
Ooh,
like us dudes, we've hated those guys too. Long before.
We've always hated those guys. Even the other tough guys are like, fuck that guy.
Like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, trust me.
Like, we don't need new words for these. They're just called douchebags.
They're just fucking douches, and we hate them too.
And sometimes we make jokes as the douchebag. So like we'll do that with, oh, you fucking pussy. Yeah. Oh, you
but it's completely
pussy.
Joking.
But
yeah.
We all know that that's not serious or genuine right now. And that, I think that also gets misconstrued, especially when that shit is done online. People take that shit seriously.
Yeah. You don't have the nuance and shit.
Yeah, like if I said that shit to you, which again, I've said shit to you online where you've gotten so fucking mad at me.
There was only one time.
It doesn't come across. It just doesn't work. Because if we would have been in person, you would have like, you fucker.
Yeah, I would have
you would have chuckled. And like you might have even like called me and been like, dude, fuck you. Yeah. And I'd have been like, I'm sorry, dude. But that would have been it. That would have been it. That would have been. But online, it's like, oh my God.
It's so hard.
So these ideas, I think what we're talking about still apply online. I just think they're amplified.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important that we talk about that specifically, is this isn't just in day-to-day life, because day-to-day, it takes a lot of balls and a big-time douchebag to be the guy that we're talking about right now. But everybody seems to do this online on a whim.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
Keep going. Though.
Yeah, and so I was thinking about that a little bit, and I was just kind of thinking like how riding motorcycle was something that ended up bringing me like a lot of fucking joy and happiness and peace and whatever, right? And it's like at first when like I kept hearing that, all I kept thinking was like, well, maybe I'm not supposed to be riding. I'm not like these guys. Oh, so I almost quit. I almost stopped pursuing something that I was interested in because of like those conversations, right? And you could argue that that's on me, right? Okay, I'll take that. But either way, it just made me think like nobody calls those guys out really, and the people who do call them out are usually kind of like the soy boy type dudes,
Sure. So somebody who doesn't even ride,
or just
like that's where you'll get the snarky TikTok video. Like, I'm so sick and tired of these guys telling us we can't fucking da. It's like, do you even ride motorcycle? Like, you're not the guy I want sticking up for me right now, bro. Like, go sit down.
And not that if you don't ride, you're a soy boy, but I mean, like, usually when. This will all tie together. So essentially,
let's say before we.
I actually should stop saying soy boy.
No, I love it. I want to make it a thing.
That's just as dumb as toxic masculinity,
no,
right?
It's not just though, because for me, here's what it is. Here's what a soy boy is. It's a virtue signaling, pandering fuckboy who literally has nothing to do with any of this. So it's somebody who's never painted, like making an argument on behalf of painters.
Oh yeah,
it's somebody who's not a cop, making an argument on behalf of cops. And we all do this from time to time.
Yeah.
But it's always somebody who's like it's not somebody who definitely could be a cop, right?
Yeah.
It's somebody who's like never gonna be a cop, like me.
It's the guy who's like, when you tell them you're a veteran, and they're like, I almost joined, but it's not even... No, but
or anytime a guy makes an argument on behalf of women, like, dude, you're not a woman, shut the fuck up.
Or like,
women can stick up for themselves. You're kind of defeating the idea of feminism when you're arguing on their behalf.
Yeah, in a way, you're almost mansplaining her.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she's a big girl. Yeah. She can stand up for herself. You fuck boy. You soy boy. What is it from Sunny we were talking about? So you soy boy beta cuck. That's what we're talking about.
I mean, like another one that would definitely fit into that category if we're going to use, if we're going to keep those terms around, which we might as well, because I dropped it 5 times sometimes being a
for the
complete
sake
hypocrite.
of this conversation,
Yeah.
everything's on the table. Especially, look where you're at, bro.
So like, and they're also the kind of guys who are like, you know, I would call them I call them like the predatory feminist. And especially on Facebook, you can see it because we know a lot of people, right? And so you can see the dude who's doing the whole like, you know, feminist thing on girls' comments, and it's like, I know you, dude. You're like a borderline date rapist, and like, I hope that this girl knows that when she says, you know, oh, I'm so sick of all these shitty men, where are the good men at? And then you comment and say, I hate how shitty men give us good men a bad name. Girls, run from that dude. That dude is going to date rape you. Run from him.
We are definitely not making sweeping generalizations about mass amounts of dudes. Not tonight.
Not at all.
Not tonight.
But watch my podcast about how I tell you to be a better human. No.
That really is what it boils down to, though. Is like, so what you're doing. So explain. Let's bring it back.
Let me bring it back. Okay, so essentially, what I'm trying to do, or what I'm hoping to do, is I'm sort of trying to be that, I guess, that voice in the middle, for lack of a better term,
like a voice of reason. But
then also allow, you know, once I'm gonna do it in phases. So first, it'll probably be more like a vlog. You know, at first, just like me, whatever, I'll be riffing for like 10 minutes. And then the next will probably be like that with like live chat. And then it'll be guests, right? I kind of want to like build up on it. Kind of like you were talking about earlier. I might discover like a week into it, I'm like, oh, this kind of fucking sucks. I don't want to do it, right?
I found it incredibly impossible to do anything into a camera where I know no one's watching right now.
Yeah.
And potentially no one's ever going to watch it.
So
I couldn't do it. I tried. I did like fucking, I don't remember how many I did. And I was like, I talked to Kevin about it. I was like, I'm done. I'm done.
See, I kind of have to do it for my job anyways.
I'm willing to go live to no one.
Yeah.
Because somebody might be watching.
Yeah, yeah. But not record. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so for me, like I do a lot of e-coaching stuff.
How many shows did you and I play where no one showed up? Think about it, right? Like, you and I are battle hardened for this.
Yeah, yeah.
I can broadcast live to the internet and have no one watching. I don't give a fuck because somebody might watch.
Yeah, yeah.
Live or later.
Yeah.
But when you record it and
there's
no one's watching, I don't know how fucking people do that shit, dude. That's a vibe, bro.
Well,
that's
not
why,
my vibe. You know, that portion will probably be like, they'll probably be like 5-10 minutes. And I'm kind of used to it because like one of the things I do for my job is I do like e-coaching and stuff like that. I'll do like on-demand e-coaching. And so for that, I'll record like maybe a 5-minute video on how to like utilize Ichikawa or fishbone to like solve a problem, right? So like
I'm not laughing at you. I'm trying to. This is my problem. I always think about two things at once. I have a problem with being present. I'm thinking like, how could you trick yourself to talk to a camera like somebody's actually there? And the first thing that popped into my head is like to take a picture of somebody and blow it up and then like cut the whole of the camera out and just put their face on the camera and just talk to them.
Dude, that's not a bad idea. I should do that for my next e-coaching. I should actually just take like a take like a crowd shot of like a Relevance or DE show and just like put it up there and be like, ah. But yeah, but anyway, so that's kind of how I'm gonna roll it out, or but to circle back. I don't want to say that term anymore because somebody ruined that. Circle back. But yeah, so like to me, it's like you got kind of the extremes, right? It's like I was kind of looking, especially the last handful of years, I've been like really like big into like personal development and growth and whatever. So I've been like taking in a lot of stuff, and one of the things I noticed is that when it came to like just general for lack of a better term, manliness. And I know that's such a stupid way to say it, but that's what I'm going to go with. It was like you either had like the super, I call them pseudo alphas, because if you're loud about being an alpha, you're not an alpha. And so you either got like the loud super alphas who are just like, you know, whatever. And it's like, dude, fuck you, man. Like, no. Or you got the guy who's like, he's all soft spoken and he's got the new age music in the background. And he's like, men, you don't have to, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to listen to that guy either. You know what I mean? Like, we're just like the regular motherfuckers who like, hey, some days I fucking cry for no reason. Other days I do 200 push-ups. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fucking all over the place. And I was like, I haven't seen like anybody serving that. And so I just kind of thought like, well, hey, maybe I'll check up this podcast and we'll just have these, I'll start off, like I said, with sort of the vlog things or whatever. But really what I want to get into is I want to get into, having the guests, and I want to have a very diverse, thank you, like very diverse running of guests, right? But like, I want to have like the Shane Pattons or the Greg Chiltons of the world, who are like in all intents and purposes, they're badass motherfuckers, right? And it would be fun.
Well, Greg seems like a badass motherfucker, but he's a goddamn teddy bear.
So that's what I'm going to say. Like, these people who, like, that's what people think when they think of him, right? They think of Greg, they think of like Shane or whatever. I'm not calling anybody out. This is like, it's a compliment. They think of him a certain way. It'd be awesome to get those dudes on there and like talk about.
I hope Greg doesn't take offense to what I just said. No. I don't think he would.
No, I wouldn't think so.
But he does look and seem intimidating.
Oh, for sure. And get them on there. It'd be really cool to like have conversations with guys like that, where they can talk about like times that they were insecure, times that they were scared, this and that, and to really spread that message that like, being a strong man or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't mean that like you don't care about other people. It doesn't mean that you have no fear. It doesn't mean that, you know what I mean? It means like, hey, these, subjectively we look at these guys as like quintessential badasses, but then, maybe if I can get them to open up on the podcast and really talk about some of these like real human moments they've had,
sure,
it would help other people to kind of be like, okay, like this is normal. It's normal to, decide to start riding motorcycle in your early 30s and be fucking scared. Like, that's normal, right? Like, you don't need all these other guys telling you that you're a pussy because you're scared. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know 100%. And I think one of the thing, and I thought you were going to go more down this road of it, which was you weren't scared to be a pussy. You weren't scared to play it safe when you started off, right? Like, when you started, you had already been riding bike for a while, but then you jumped to a banana bar.
No, my very first bike was that fucking 16-inch ape hanger, that 1500cc Harley.
The ape hanger. Yeah. I don't know why I said
Andy.
banana bar. I think I'm thinking like a 50s bicycle. I don't know.
Banana seat?
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking. I think I was thinking like
Dude,
a banana seat.
Dude, could you imagine a fucking like a Harley with a banana seat on it?
Dude, I don't know why I said banana bar, bro. Yeah, the ape hangers is what they call them.
That was my first bike. I remember when I was taking...
I associated ape hanger with banana seat and said banana bar. What the fuck is wrong with me? There's a cringe moment. We were just talking about this. There's one of them. Like, I've ridden motorcycles. I grew up around motorcycles. I fucking rebuilt dirt bikes and mini bikes as a child, and I just sounded like an absolute fucking idiot on my own fucking podcast. Oh my god. But where I thought you were going with this was you weren't afraid to admit and even make a public Facebook post about the fact that you took that fucking bike and you drove around a parking lot because you were nervous and you wanted to get the hang of things. But dude, that's called fucking being responsible. And in fact, I would argue that's what the definition of being a man is being fucking responsible.
Thank you. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like it's caring about
being a badass, but be responsible. Like be a badass, responsible motherfucker.
Give a fuck about the way you impact the people around you. Like that's okay. It doesn't mean like you have to be like this soft, okay, guys. You don't have to be that, but like you don't also have to be like. Rrr.
You know what I also never seen you do was go online and fucking make some preachy ass posts about motorcyclists. Honestly, man, like I see motorcyclists. Y'all are fucking loud, so I hear you before I see you. Stop acting like you're fucking ghosts. The reality is you guys drive like assholes. Like seriously, like every motorcyclist is exactly like every bicyclist I've ever seen on the road. You're all assholes. None of you obey the same traffic laws because you think you're quick and you can do extra things, which I fucking get it. But that's why people don't see motorcyclists, because 95 fucking % of you don't obey regular traffic laws and you're goddamn assholes on the road. So thank you for not doing that. By the way, did you just see fucking another Joe Spanbauer post?
Yeah, you got hit.
Another fucking
I saw
bike
that.
accident. This motherfucker keeps getting in motorcycle accidents. Joe Spanbauer, what are you doing on a fucking motorcycle, bro?
No, I actually want to.
You are a magnet for cars. No, like you're doing something wrong at this point. Personal responsibility. It's like, how many assholes do you have to hang around before you're the asshole? How many cars have to hit you before it's your fucking fault, Joe?
I'm gonna actually go the opposite direction. What the fuck are you eating, or what are you doing that causes you to be fucking imperviable to the pain and damage of a fucking car hitting a man on a bike?
By the way, yes, that was my second thing. Is how are you also alive? Like this is an actual superhero,
dude. I'm like, I'm like, holy shit! If that was me,
he's Bruce Willis. In that movie Unbreakable.
Yeah, dude, it's like, and don't get me wrong, I love Joe to death.
I think I've
seen
3 motorcycle crash posts from him in 5 years.
Dude, he's fucking bionic, man, or something. I don't know.
He's Bruce Willis from Unbreakable.
Yeah, he's fucking
and he's also a terrible driver, clearly. Because I don't know anybody that's been in that many motorcycle accidents. I mean, let alone in 5 years.
He rides a lot though, too. So like, you know,
okay, fair.
You ride more, especially like if you're a commuter type rider. You're really increasing your chances. You know,
I want to get a scooter.
For me, I was more of a. Even that was like a stupid thing. I was talking to somebody or whatever, and I was this group of people, and they were talking about riding or whatever, and of course everybody started getting all beating their chest or whatever, and they were asking me about riding. I was like, oh yeah, I love getting out on the weekend. That's kind of when I do it, blah blah. And they were like, oh, you're a weekend warrior. I'm like,
bro, fuck you.
I was just like, what?
Okay, so
you motherfuckers wonder why I don't ever want to ride with you.
So let's just give you a ton of material for your first 100 episodes, right? In this one conversation. Okay, how do I want to respond in that scenario? You know how I want to turn around, and it can be a big guy. And I literally was saying to go, bro, I can kill you with my bare hands. Like, fucking fuck you.
And I can do that 7 days a week.
That is a genius line. That is the greatest. That's the greatest post tag I've ever heard to that. And I do that 7 days a week. Oh my God, dude, that needs to be in a show.
It was so weird. It was something I never even thought of, because to me, I was just like, I ride motorcycle to escape, right? To just get out and just kind of whatever. So like, why would I want to ride that to fucking work? And then the other thing I was thinking of too, of course, part of the way my mind works is I look at risk assessment, right? Every time you get on your motorcycle, there's a substantial possibility you might not be coming home. Do I want to risk that going to work? Or would I rather risk that going down the scenic lake drive through Duluth?
Where you're borderline meditating at that point. Like you're in a different space. No, and I do remember you talking about this when you would make posts about how you'd like pick specific days and like highways where there was less traffic, because like you weren't trying to challenge yourself and put yourself in these vulnerable positions. And I thought it was really interesting that you were willing to put yourself out there like that, because that is something that a lot of people will attack. Oh yeah, you fucking pussy, blah blah. And you know what, here's the thing, maybe they were right, maybe you were a fucking pussy, but what's commendable is that you didn't let that fact discourage you from motorcycling altogether. Like, yeah, I am a pussy. Okay, like did that ever cross your mind? Did you ever go, okay, yeah, I am a pussy, and that's why I'm doing these things, but I'm still going to ride my motorcycle? Well, did that exact dialogue ever go through your head?
It was
more rebellion, like fuck you, I'm not a pussy, I'm just being responsible?
No, it was for me. It was more, honestly, it kind of didn't even enter my thought process because of the fact that like the reason I was being that way, I should say the biggest reason I was being that way was, I was married at the time, right? Like, I don't want to die. And, I mean, I'm divorced, so I guess it wouldn't have mattered at the time, but whatever. that aside, I don't want to leave my wife a widow or a widower or widow. Yeah. Or I don't want to end up super injured and she's got to like take care of me the rest. Like my thought process was a lot more outward on me, like trying to like find a balance between like, hey, I want to be free and have fun, but I also don't want to like fuck up and then all of a sudden I'm a burden on a bunch of people for the rest of my life. So when people would say a lot of that shit, it was, to me, it was kind of like, Oh, that's cool. You can be selfish. I'm gonna think about the people who would have to take care of me or would have to.
So again, that is like one of those things where I'd be like, that's a man. That's what a man does. Because this is shit that comes up. Like, you know, we think this as men, as young men, right? We're asked this by younger men. Like, what is a man?
Yeah.
You know, well, there's a lot of types of men.
Yeah.
There's a lot of types of men. You got manly men. You got ladies, man. You know, like that's fucking. I mean, fuck, dude. There's a lot of different types of ladies, men out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's hard to, but we should break this stuff down because to be a man, it's a spectrum. You know what I mean? You can be a masculine man, you can be an effeminate man, you can be a metrosexual man, which isn't really a thing anymore, but it kind of was like.
I remember that. Yeah,
that
like
was
20 years ago or something. Yeah,
but it was like a thing.
Yeah,
you know,
it was like an insult back then. You're metrosexual, and it's like.
But at the same time, it was like, whatever, dude. Like I may fucking clean my nails, which I wasn't one of those dudes. Which my nails are actually incredibly clean right now. But it was like, yeah, I live in the city and I fucking look good when I go to work, but yeah, I also go fucking fishing and hunting and don't shower for a week at a time. Like, fuck off, dude. I'm just as much of a fucking badass as you are. That's what a metrosexual was.
I mean, during those times, like sometimes people toss that my way because I was like, I don't know, I had the audacity to like take a shower every day and like look
trim your beard.
Yeah.
And that's all it was, is it was like normal masculine dudes like disguising themselves as businessmen Monday through Friday. That's what a metrosexual really was. Is they were like extremely masculine men who like actually had to groom themselves because fucking corporate America from 1990 to 2010 was insane.
Oh yeah, I had to cover my tattoos for forever.
Like down to your fucking wrist.
Yeah, dude, it'd be like 100 degrees. I'm wearing a fucking dress shirt.
They would measure your beard. I remember at one collection agency specifically, they would like literally, they had a half inch from your chin line.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it was like.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking. No, but fuck, I was gonna drop something in there, but I totally forgot where. Like when
a Jew joke?
When people would say that shit to me back then or whatever, like I would always have like, and it's such a generic comeback, but I'd be like, I don't know, man, your girlfriend likes it. You know, your wife likes my clean balls. You can.
Yeah, that's one I've never gotten down with. Is the total shaving of all the male down hairs.
I mean,
all buzz clip the top chunk.
Oh, I bick the whole fucking.
No.
I didn't used to. So and this is funny. So now this is weird. So prior to being in the military, I didn't. Right, I did what you're. I like took down the fucking bush,
the jungle,
the jungle up top, right? And then when I was in the army, like fucking tons of dudes were not only like shaving the whole thing, but they were bicking it, and I was just like,
pass.
I was like, man, I'm like, don't you cut? And like, no. So like, you want to talk about like that's the funny thing. Like all these like some of these like these fucking tough guys or whatever. Okay, like join the fucking military sometime, and you'll see like
yeah, no.
What real manliness looks like. And so like we're literally all in the fucking showers. Like they're giving me a tutorial on how to fucking bick my fucking dick and balls, right?
Right.
And so
yeah, this is like old school. When I was a kid, I'm still old enough. When I was a kid, we still took showers naked. Like
you take them with clothes on now?
I mean, fucking, if you go to the gym, man, I don't see a lot of naked people at the gym anymore or at the pool or whatever.
It's almost aggressive.
Dude, especially in school, like by the time I made it into high school, almost everybody was showering with boxers on. Or not boxers, but swimming trunks on. It was fucking weird.
That must have sucked for you because that was like your time to shine and throw out that fucking knee fucking slapper you got. No, like, God damn it, everybody's wearing fucking shorts now. I'm gonna wear white ones then. Dude, I hate this. I should have pissed before we start. I gotta piss already because
piss.
I was having a few before we started.
Go piss.
I'll yell from the fucking toilet.
Don't do that. You can just piss in that sink if you want. The toilet. Banana seat ape hangers. I got what you meant. Thank you, Peter. Shout out to Peter. Fucking seriously, man. I don't know exactly who Peter is. Yeah, we got somebody in the chat. He knew what I meant. Thank you, Peter. Somebody's at least bearing with me in my goofiness. I do have a weakness for that. I really do. I have a weakness for like making these weird stretch analogies and then just misspeaking in real time. And I don't even hear it most of the time. Luckily, I caught it that time, but usually I don't. Oh, you know what we should do is we should see if fucking his song transferred over. Let me see if I can fucking load that up. You guys, in fact, yeah, fuck it. Let's put some questions in here. Jeremy and I are hanging out, having fun. Fucking throw some questions in here. Let's see. I'm gonna take this moment to load up his clip that he sent me very, very last minute. Fucker. He sent it so last minute, I couldn't do shit about it. We're gonna try to see if we can load this up though. So next time we gotta take a break, we're gonna play a song. Something he's been working on. We should talk about a bunch of shit. We should just make a bunch of shit up. Yeah, dude, you're taking a long time. No pressure, though. Yeah, there's something weird with that file. It won't let me load it up. Sorry. I tried.
It's all good.
That song you sent me, I can't load it up. There's something weird with the file format. So what were we talking about before you left? I don't even remember.
I don't know. We were fucking talking shit. No, but yeah. So anyway, the podcast. I mean, essentially,
I know we're hovering around the idea of like toxic masculinity, and
it's essentially
and how you're going to differentiate yourself and find a niche within that.
Yeah.
So basically, it's sort of like life coaching. Fucking. I think there's a good spot for this though, because there's too many fresh and fits out there.
Yeah. That was kind of my thought. It was, like I said, it was one of those things where
these guys are assholes.
I either saw like a lot of that, or I saw, like I said, a lot of the and like, no offense if that's what you do or whatever, but I just saw a lot of the like, again, like the real soft filter and the soft, you know what I mean? This, and just like, guys, you don't have, and I'm kind of like, I don't know, dude. Is anybody gonna really listen to that?
Just do me one favor, dude. Just do me one favor, bro. Just don't do this whole Sigma male thing, because that's not a thing. That's not a thing. That's something somebody just made up recently. Somebody just made this shit up recently, and they were like, "Well, there's something in between." No, there's not. You're either an alpha
Sigma
male.
is supposed to be even higher than alpha.
Oh my god,
so
no,
stupid.
Just stop. You're either an alpha male or you're a beta male. It just depends on the situation. It depends on the time. It depends on where you're at. It depends on what's going on.
Dude, there's so much to it. Dude, like, okay, you take
there is no Sigma male. It's
no,
so
that all that
annoying.
stuff is so
it's completely made up. It's completely fabricated.
All that stuff to me, it's all this, right? Calling yourself an alpha male to me is the equivalent of like all these women who call themselves goddesses. You know what I mean? Like, you see that all the time.
There are
like,
people that are now calling themselves kings.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, king, queen, goddess, alpha. Like, dude, anybody who's any one of those things doesn't have to fucking tell anybody that they are. You know what I mean? You just, like, that's my...
You know what's super funny, dude? So I was listening to... I think... it doesn't really matter what podcast it was, but it was Tom Segura talking about the fact that he's become... really good friends with like Brad Pitt. So
odd pairing.
Brad Pitt became a huge fan of Tom Segura.
Mm-hmm.
Came out to one of his shows. Of course, since he's Brad Pitt, he just came backstage.
Yeah.
Right. And they started hanging out and they clicked. Right.
Yeah.
And so they've been chatting and they've become really good friends. This is like become a buzz if you watch that circle of podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, people are like, what the fuck? Tom is like secretly friends with all these A-list celebrities now because he's fucking hilarious and he's cool as fuck, right? But Tom let leak on one of these podcasts. He was talking some shit, and he's talking about how Brad. He asked Brad like, so like, how famous are you really? Like, what is it really like? And he goes, listen, man, I'm like a gazelle, okay? And there's only like 3 or 4 other people like me, period. That's how famous I am. And I immediately, in my head, I went Johnny Depp, Tom Cruise, Leonardo DiCaprio, and I'm trying to think of the 4th person. Right?
Yeah.
Because like there's only a certain level that he's on at that level of fame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know why the fuck I brought that up. Something you said
Yeah,
reminded me of it.
But
Something
just,
you said reminded me of it.
any of that stuff. No.
Because it was like how you're describing yourself.
Yeah.
He didn't describe himself as a fucking transformer, as a titan, as a king, as a god.
Yeah.
He described himself as one of the most vulnerable things on the African fucking food chain.
I'm a gazelle.
Extremely fast and hard to catch.
Yeah.
But not very violent at all.
That's better. Like, you know, the guys.
That's why I brought it up.
I'm a wolf.
I'm a gorilla.
I'm a wolf.
Yeah.
No, you aren't. I know you. You're fucking. Anyways.
You're a beaver. You're a beaver. It takes a long fucking time and you're terrified of everything.
Yeah.
And all you do is annoy things and disrupt water flow, you fucking bitch.
Dude, to me, I always refer back to that same phrase. I don't know who coined it, but it's insecurities are loud, confidence is silent. And that's kind of the filter that I run my own life through, and it's the filter when I interact with other people, I run it through. Like when some dude's being fucking one of those, quote unquote toxic males, aka just being a fucking dick.
Yeah, it's just being a dude who's currently being toxic.
Yeah, and so to me, it's like
I can see that thing fucking with you. So tighten it, loosen that, and then tighten it back.
There we go.
There you go.
So for me, it's kind of it took a shift a long. Actually, this is something I started doing kind of in my teenage years. I don't know why I picked up on this, but anytime I started to like run into dudes who acted like that, like internally, I just kind of laughed because I was like, you're kind of like a caricature of yourself, It's like. It's like if you were to put it in Google Translate, it starts out as I'm fucking tough and I'm this and I'm that, and you put it through Google Translate and it's like I'm really fragile and I don't want you to know how sensitive I actually am.
Yeah.
It's like,
now the kids call it memes. You're a meme.
Yeah,
you're a meme.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, we just called it a stereotype or a cliche.
Well, yeah, it's just like you're trying so fucking hard. Back then, like I said, when I was like a teenager, I used to pick up on that. I was like, why is this? Are these people like? Who are you trying to impress? Like, why are you trying so hard? And
my little brother's such a fuck. He used to go, why do you do that? And I'd be like, what are you talking about? He'd be like, you're being a meme. And I just wanted to punch him in his stupid teenage face. Like, don't call me a fucking meme. Like, this is who I am. You made a meme out of it.
Did he call you Boomer next?
I don't fucking know.
That's the other one.
I don't remember.
Boomer. It's like, do you even know what a fucking boomer is? Fucking dipshit.
Anybody who's not one of them is a boomer.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
I actually kind of love it. I kind of love it, dude, because I say that shit to people my age.
Dude, like, I love when people use I'm so conflicted because I love when people use any of that slang ironically. But, like, if they use it and they really mean it, then I'm just, I don't know, just like, dude, shut the fuck up.
I'm actually a big fan of Gen Z. I really am. I'm a big fan of Gen Z. They're hilarious. And there's a group of Gen Zers that are called Zoomers.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the wisdom of boomers, but they're from Gen Z. Dude, and they're going to save the world. Because they're fucking awesome. They're seriously awesome. I have friends that are 20 to 25 year olds, 25 years old now, because I have so much respect for them as characters, and they're smart. They're well educated. They're wise beyond their years. I mean, you and I were fucking morons between 20 and 25 compared to some of these kids. But you and I were also geniuses between 25 and 25 compared to some of these kids. Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, that's Gen Z, though. That's Gen Z. Like, where you and I are at, normal dudes in our generation, reasonable. Mm-hmm. You and I, pretty smart, but not like geniuses. We're not fucking on the cutting edge of physics or fucking writing number one hits.
No, I'm gonna be like the girls who call themselves goddesses or the guys who call themselves alpha.
Right. I'm like a normal guy.
I'm like cool, man. I'm just like super intelligent. I'm the smartest man alive. That's about the same as when you call yourself a goddess or an alpha. I'm the smartest man alive.
I feel like us, though, compared to Gen Z, we're either geniuses or we're like idiots compared to these guys.
Yeah, I think it's all on a
that
gradient.
generation. That I haven't met any middle ground Gen Zers though.
Mhm.
I've met guys I'm really, really impressed with, and then I've met a lot of guys where I'm like, oh my god, I hope you never get into a position of power.
I think that, and honestly, I honestly kind of think that's like it's like every generation, right?
You
like
think?
every I think every generation has their they're people who are like, hey, these people are gonna like affect change and like do good things, and these other people are just fucking dipshits, right? Every generation, and even what's happening. I mean, it's to me, it's the way that civilization kind of works, right? It's just every generation kind of hates the one that's coming up after them, right? And the needle moves a little further each time. Like our parents hated, I don't know, if we were wearing a Marilyn Manson shirt or something, right? They're like, right? And, fast forward to now, and there's a whole different thing that parents are dealing with beyond just their...
That Marilyn Manson shit's interesting, though, right? Because, like, people like me, I really never got into Marilyn Manson.
I didn't.
And the Satanism shit did bother me. The outright Satanism shit did bother me. Because it's hard for me to truly believe somebody who's an actual Satanist, because I fucking read that Bible, right? I went deep, okay?
Anton LaVey.
Dude, I'm just going to say this, man. Satanism is about indulgence, and it is an extremely selfish idea, which is not what being good in my mind is. And so when I found out the sexual allegations against Marilyn Manson and the deviance and the absolute horror that he put people through, I was not even remotely surprised. I was like, because that adds up to what he was preaching.
And it's kind of funny because like my thoughts on Manson, like when I was coming up, it was kind of different. It was I just like, I didn't take him serious. Like I was just like, man, you're trying too hard. I can't get into this. That was kind of my thing.
Sure.
Sure. Now like years later as an adult, now I'm kind of like, oh, actually, like some of this shit's kind of cool or whatever. Like I dig some of his tunes or whatever, and I've seen him in concert a couple times. It was because he was part of like a festival or something. But anyways, yeah.
I'll tell you, what is it? John 5 or whatever the fuck his name is, that guitar player.
Oh, dude, fucking that dude is so good.
He's so good,
dude.
He's so good. It's like, why were you in that band, dude? You could have been in any band. You're so good. You could have been in any band, and why were you in that band?
Prime example. Like I had a conversation with Dick Lasagna a long time ago about
no
about
one knows who that is.
Oh, yeah, Rich Zazada.
Rich Zazada has been on the podcast. I don't remember the episode number, but you can check it out.
Yeah.
He's actually coming back on again soon.
I still love that, even though he's one of those guys.
His nickname in the scene is Dick Lasagna, and that happened while we were in a band together,
Yeah.
Jeremy and I.
Dick
Because
Lasagna.
somebody said Rich Zazada, and somebody else went, "Did you just call him Dick Lasagna?"
That was me. Because I always called him Dick, and then somebody, yeah. But anyways, fuck, we're I don't remember where the fuck we were.
You were talking to Dick Lasagna about Marilyn Manson.
Was
We were talking about Marilyn Manson, and you brought up Dick
the
Lasagna
fuck did I bring up Dick Lasagna?
because we were talking about the deviants and years later, and
Jesus, I don't know where the fuck I was going with that. Where the fuck were we talking about Manson? I don't know, dude. Well, maybe we'll fucking come back to it. I don't remember where the fuck we were going with that.
well, let's see if
or where I was going with it.
Let's see if we can hit the replay buffer in our minds. Right?
Yeah.
So, like I was saying, years later when all that shit came out about him,
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised because
I remember what I was going to say now.
Go.
Oh, okay. I was having a conversation with Dick Lasagna years ago because he was talking about like just bands and how they're able to play so perfectly and whatever. And long story short, I was saying that when on an album, typically you're playing below your skill level, right? So you're here and you're playing here, and so for like a lot of guys like or guys or gals like like John 5 or whatever, it's like. Yeah, he's here, but he's playing down to here because that's like kind of what it requires, and you kind of end up finding out like a lot of these bands, you're just like, especially with like YouTube and all that shit now, like back in the day, we didn't like know that as much, but now like they'll have their own thing. And then you're just like, what the fuck? Like if Nirvana was still around today, I don't know, maybe Kurt Cobain would be having like arpeggio fucking videos and you'd be like, what the? Okay. You're just playing that style because that's the way you like to play,
Yeah. And then it's really interesting because then you go back to like those Dave Mustaine, Kirk Hammett videos and shit where they I remember there's a video I seen where Dave Mustaine is standing on the side of the stage watching Kirk Hammett in Metallica
probably play his solos.
and that's what he's judging.
Yeah.
That's what he's not judging the band. He's not angry at the band. He's judging whether Kirk is worthy. Like they picked him over me.
Yeah.
And then he walks away from the stage and they ask Dave what he thought. And he goes, I think he's really good for what his abilities allow him to do.
Yeah,
do
I remember this.
That?
Yeah, which is such a Dave Mustaine fucking response.
Basically, is what he's saying is he isn't half the guitar player I am, but he's doing the best he can.
Yeah. He's also not derailing the band. So there's a reason Megadeth is where they are and Metallica is where they are. And I love both.
That's fair.
I love both bands, but let's be real.
You're a Metallica guy, right? Or are you a Megadeth guy? No, you're a Metallica guy.
If I had to pick, it would be Metallica. But I mean, I genuinely like both bands, but for different reasons, I guess. Like Megadeth, I'll listen to Megadeth because I want to listen to the guitar playing. Metallica, I'll listen to because I want to listen to the songs.
That's exactly how I would have said it, word for word.
Yeah. So that's.
Yeah, and for me, it's because Metallica has a groove that
they're just good songwriters,
but none of those other bands in that genre, especially out of the big four, none of them had the groove that Metallica had. The only band that could compete with Metallica for groove was Pantera.
Yeah, and they weren't even part of the big four.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I guess Anthrax, when in the John Bush era, I guess had a little bit of but for me, it's not even so much the groove. I think it's the I would call it intelligent songwriting.
They were almost prog too. The way people want to talk shit about Lars, man, but the way Lars played drums on shit, and the way he did things, man, he was fucking adding beats, taking beats away. He was fucking playing snares on beats that normally wouldn't ever make sense, especially in the 80s when everything was basically fucking dumbed down 4/4. Come on, man.
I've been saying it for years. I think that when it comes to in a lot of ways, when it comes to being an artist, limitations are that's your best asset. You know what I mean? There was an interview I watched recently with Zakk Wylde where what the fuck was it? He was talking about how he can do sweeping arpeggio, he can do all that fucking fancy shit, right? But he's like
Zakk Wylde?
Yeah, but he's like,
that motherfucker noodles so much though, dude. He puts so many random ass notes and so many solos, dude.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But that aside,
that's not exactly the best reference. But it was
the interview. He was just kind of talking about how I've seen him say this in a few interviews, and I really gravitate towards the message, whether or not it's whatever. Applicable, but actually
Zakk Wylde's a great reference. Keep going.
But if he was like, hey man, he's like if you got 64 crayons, it's kind of harder to be creative than if you only have 4.
True.
And so he was kind of talking about as he was sort of coming up with Ozzy, at that time it was the Yngwies and the Eddie Van Halens and the Vito Bradas and these fucking prolific shredders, and he was like,
am I taking over for Randy Rhoads, by the way?
Yeah, and he's like, he was actually taking over for Jakey Lee, but to get a buffer. Yeah,
fair.
There was a rebound.
Really. There was a fair, but not really. To be fair, many great guitar players with legitimate credibility in our industry revere Randy Rhoads as the greatest guitar player of all time.
Oh, he's one of the for sure.
Not Jimi
especially
Hendrix or Eddie Van Halen. Many of the best guitar players with huge credibility that I've met revere Randy Rhoads.
Yeah, I mean Randy, the fucking
So for Zakk Wylde to be saying this,
he was just kind of talking about how for him he was coming up during that time, and he was just kind of like, well, I can either get lost in that sea of guitar players, or I can just tell myself hey, you're not allowed to do A, B, C, and D. Right with what you're allowed. Right with these 4 crayons. And I just always thought that was really cool. And I always think about that. It's just necessity is the mother of invention, right? So it's like imagine if you're a guitarist who can play anything you can possibly think of. So that would be cool, right? Because there's no limits. But at the same time, I don't know. Sometimes it's like, hey, I have this idea, but I can't play it. So I have to come up with another way to convey this idea.
That's the story of my life.
Within my wheel. That's mine for sure.
That's the story of my life.
Dude,
bro.
once I transitioned, it might have been, it was probably only maybe a couple years after you were in DE. I kind of transitioned from chasing, like, I want to be known as like a really great guitar player. And then I was like, actually, I care more about being known as a really good songwriter. You know, I don't care about there's I can't compete with these motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, but beyond that, I was just kind of like, I don't know. I feel a lot more fulfillment when I write a beautiful song than, oh, I played this thing that's really hard that only 10 other people are going to give a fuck about that I can play.
Yeah, that's why I was joked about, like, me leaving and Joe coming in to Dying Euphoria was like one of the best things that ever happened to you, because
the interim was rough.
I think,
because there was some stuff in between.
Fair.
We won't drop names, but there was some.
But I feel like maybe I could have been a better vocalist if you would have been writing riffs like you were writing when Joe was in the band, but I'm not sure that would have happened if I was in the band. You know what I mean? Like A led to B, led to C, led to D. Like, I don't think there can be any shortcuts in there.
Although, not to shit on your theory, but I started thinking about changing the way I wrote songs
while I was in the band,
because you could sing.
Well, and I was also making references to this. Like, I had subtly dropped some hints to you and Rain. I was like, you know, like these riffs this riff, because you wanted me to do something. I remember a very specific conversation. I don't remember the riff. I don't remember the song, but I remember the conversation, and I'll never forget this conversation. I will definitely paraphrase it right now. I'm not pretending I can quote it, but the philosophy and the idea is very simple. I was like, I hear what you think should be done here, but this riff does not lend itself
to that. Yeah.
Like, this is because I didn't want to do anything. Mm-hmm. I was like, no, this is just like you guys are riffing. And you're like, no, I really hear like these vocals.
Yeah.
And I remember us trying like, and I was like, dude, it's not a vocal riff, bro.
Yeah.
And you're like, I hear it. And I was like, then you fucking sing it.
I remember. Dude,
it was I remember that line. Because it was like straight out of Metallica, the fucking James Hetfield. Then you fucking sing it. Because I didn't know how to explain this to you. And then we got in a big fight. And I remember I coincidentally watched the REM documentary where the lead singer of REM wasn't feeling the song. So he didn't sing on the song. The fucking guitar players or the bass player, somebody else in the band sang on the song. And I was just so like literally not in an ego moment. I was just willing to give that to you.
Yeah.
It didn't come off that way. It came off that as a spiteful, bratty response.
You fucking sing it.
But I was like, dude, if you really hear this great idea that I'm not feeling or getting, then you do it.
And that's part of the beauty, like, in the moment,
it sounds shitty.
In the moment, it's not beautiful, but later on, it's
retrospect,
beautiful.
You're like, oh my god, yeah, he actually was like doing the opposite of being an ego moron.
Well, and just like for both of us, it's like that's how magic happens, right? It's kind of like that dance.
You remember that line though?
When you said that, I distinctly remember that part. I was like, yeah. But no, like, so what happened is like with like when I first,
because it was a riffy riff. It was a riffy ass riff, and I was like, I don't know what to sing over that. I'm not dude from Protest the Hero. Like, I don't know what.
I remember now because like I remember like part of my push was like, it was kind of that thought of like, hey, people normally wouldn't sing over this, so we should.
You also thought more highly of me as a vocalist than I thought of myself, and that's still true to this day.
That's still true to this day, because like you always talk about your scream. My favorite thing about you was your clean vocals,
which I think is hilarious.
If I were to this day, if I ever were to start the like rock band I want to do, like just straight up rock, I would love for you to be the singer. You just have this, in my opinion, man, you just got this really good, gritty, raw voice. And I love give it that a shot kind
again.
Of voice.
I might give it a shot again.
And you're a killer frontman, which you need that in a rock band.
I fucking am not humble about my frontman abilities at all.
Dude, the best and worst times of DE is when you were the singer.
Thanks, bud.
Because I mean, obviously, like there were some really bad times that happened there, but it's like fucking Appetite for Destruction, man. Like you gotta have the fucking peaks and valleys, right?
Well, and I've said you cannot, and this is my first T-shirt. Like with we're gonna create a new logo.
Yeah.
That thing's dumb.
I kind of like it. I don't know why, but
okay,
just because it's so not you, but also you at the same time.
Dude, it just reminds me of an '80s video game. I love it.
I think that's why I like
it. Who knows? Maybe we'll just revamp that. I think is what would be cool is if we turned the sun into like a 1950s old school microphone.
Dude, I'm telling you.
And then we took the name and we wrapped it around.
That could be,
you know what I mean?
But fuck, man, like all that 80s shit is coming. You know how that shit is cyclical.
Yeah, which means it's not going to be. Which means it's not going to be in style for long.
But you're also ahead of the curve.
Maybe, I don't know, but
I like it because it stands out.
I mean, thanks, dude. I'm not going to sit here and fucking argue with you about it.
But I get it, dude. I know what you're talking about, dude. I get it. This fucking song that I sent you. You know how many times I've fucking rewritten this thing? I get it.
Fair. But that's going to probably be the first actual T-shirt where we're going to have a logo, and then on the back there's going to be a phrase. One of them is definitely going to say is "I violate community guidelines" because that is fucking me in Jared violates community guidelines. Period. Like fuck this podcast. Me in public, I violate community guidelines. So that's definitely a T-shirt. But I think the first one is going to be, because this is a genuine statement I came up with. This is an original thought that I think is like genuinely a powerful thing for musicians, and it's an encouragement to fight through. You cannot create fire without a little friction.
Yep.
That's the actual phrase. And is what that means, and is why I say that in context is, find me a band that writes great songs, and I will find you a band that has fucking fought like cats and dogs to get there.
Yes.
You find me a band that gets along like fucking scholars and gentlemen, and I will find you a band that doesn't write shit.
Yep.
And I ain't willing to fucking compromise on this
cookie
theory.
cutter copy pasta.
Exactly, man. Because fighting means you care.
Mm-hmm. And that's we can segue
and not
that
giving
into,
up and not quitting.
So here's my boomer statement of the night. I think that's why a lot of fucking metal and rock music this
sucks
day
now.
Fucking sucks. Because you know what they do? They write it at home by themselves.
They don't hang out.
They don't have that friction. They don't have that person challenging their ideas.
That's it.
Don't have that. And on top of that, you go to like not bands who've been doing it for a long time, but newer bands, and you go see them live. Holy shit, they sound like dick other than the pre-recorded tracks, backing tracks that they're playing along to. And their performance, they're fucking dead.
Especially the ones that are playing with the in-ears.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that aren't playing with stage volume. If you're too close to the stage, you don't hear anything.
And they don't even think about that. That's something I've always thought of.
There's literally nothing there. There's no sound because all the speakers are above me, shooting behind me.
Stage volume is for those first few rows in the crowd.
The room. It's also for filling the room.
And it's for giving you that energy while you're performing. You know? I mean, think about, dude, even like, think of the difference between like cranking a badass tune on a big ass stereo back in the day.
If this podcast does anything, we're going to kill this entire version of the music industry. like if this does anything, like dude, I always joked about, if we could do 10% of what Joe Rogan does, this would be a wild, overwhelming success I never could imagine. Like literally, I've said that out loud. Which is true, which is still true. Yeah. If we ever did even 10% of what Rogan does for LA, or now Austin, yeah. If we did that for Minneapolis in the music scene, oh my God, we would be it would be a life-changing thing for literally hundreds of thousands of people. But what I'm really trying to say is like even more low-key than that. If we do one thing at all, it's we're gonna fucking kill this idea of like you don't need real amps. You just do in-ear monitors and modeling, and you just go everything direct through the PA. Tim actually, when I filled in for Dying Euphoria. And Tim's like, I just go straight to the PA right now. I was like, that's why we sound sloppy. I was like, that's why we don't sound right, because you're not playing through your 8x10 anymore.
Yeah.
Because I remember what we fucking sounded like, and I know what Aaron can do on drums.
Oh, he's a machine, dude.
So I show up into this rehearsal to fill in for Dying Euphoria, and we sound like a sloppy ass band. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I mean, to be fair, we were only practicing like once every 2 weeks.
Fair.
Back in the day, we were practicing 4 days a week.
Fine, but we're more accomplished musicians now.
Yeah,
right.
But that's also a piece of it too. Bands don't rehearse anymore.
It was 100% because Tim was going through the PA, because he wasn't pushing literally 8-10-inch speakers.
That fucking
it wasn't. He wasn't filling the room with the actual air and frequencies there. It was just volume coming through the same vocal PA my vocals are coming through. It's not the same. And I've spent a lot of podcasts ranting about this. It's not the same, and I want people to stop pretending it is the same, because I'm deeply offended by this.
Dude,
as a viewer, when I go to your concert and you pull this shit, I'm deeply offended. Dude. As a fellow musician who goes on before you or after you, I'm deeply offended that you think there's no difference between these two experiences.
To me,
it's a lack of respect for the audience member.
To me, the live sound and the live experience is like stale bread.
It can be.
It's just like when it's like that. When it's like that, it's like because you can.
And we're not talking about just like playing to a click.
No, that's fucking fine. You know, whatever. Like, I mean, I prefer not to play to a click live, but that's just because I don't know, man. Like, it's cool to me when I hear a band fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's real. I'm watching something real. But I'm also 41 years old, so I get it. You know, kids these days, they're used to hearing perfection, and so that's what they want.
No, they know. No, but this is what I'm saying, is kids these days know. Like, there's still bands out there that even when they play through a Kemper... I'm going to use Stormbreaker as an example, okay? So Billy, back in the day, played through a 5150. I think he was playing a 5152. Not that it matters. Tube amp, classic,
and
blah, 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 blah.
Other dude was playing...
it's a Kemper.
Yeah.
But he was still playing through a cab.
Yeah.
So there's still stage volume. It's still a real fucking band.
Yeah.
Revenant Soul. Probably the best, like, the closest thing to a classic metal band, you know, because like Stormbreaker's 80s metal, right?
Yeah. God, I fucking love those guys.
I know.
They're
And
so
Revenant
good.
Soul is right there too. I got to send you that Sucker Punch record, because Revenant Soul is right there with them. And dude, I'm telling you, in fact, Revenant Soul is even just a little bit more seasoned, because it's the whole band, it's the rhythm section. They're all just top notch. And I'm not even saying they're a better band. That's not what I'm saying. It's just like
I get you. Yeah, you know, they're seasoned.
Yeah, they're just a little bit more seasoned. Like, and Stormbreaker's going to be there very soon, basically. You know, you're looking at ages of you know, high schoolers versus middle schoolers.
Yeah, I mean, think about that too, dude. How young
college versus high school.
Think of Stormbreaker
college.
in 5 years.
That's the point. That's the point. Is the boys from Revenant Soul were almost 30. The boys from Stormbreaker were in their early 20s when we're doing this, right? Uncle Daddy's another one of these bands where they're not old dudes like us. Like, they're young. Like, and they get it, dude. They understand and they do it right. Like, our perception of this idea is only a select number of bands. And I got to give them some props at the same time, because they're trying to figure out a way to be on the cutting edge of technology.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, you got to move forward too, right? I mean, there's a lot of great things you can do with a Kemper or with, you know, in-ear, all that stuff. But like, blend the two. Right. Blend both, because like, to me, like, the big thing is the thing that I notice being in an audience. Now, in an arena, whatever, that's different.
Like, Rich uses, we were talking about Dick Lasagna.
Yeah.
Rich uses in-ears as a drummer. Does that mean that he doesn't have any monitors on? No,
he probably still does.
Right.
Yeah. And even if he didn't, like, it's, to me, it's...
That's just so he can hear. So he doesn't need to worry about whether this monitor, the sidewash monitor next to his drum set is working or not.
Well, I mean, you know, and like, especially as a drummer, you got to hear the click for a lot of bands and stuff. But like, to me,
that actually bugs me live. But go ahead.
The people out, like, the 3 or 4 musicians / singer out front, to me, they need stage volume to give them the energy to put on the show that the audience deserves. And when you take that, you know, like I was about to say earlier, like, think of the difference between listening to a badass album on a big ass sound system versus putting it on your headphones.
Yeah.
Which one fucking is going to amp you up a little more and going to make you feel, you know what I mean? And like, to me, it's no different on stage.
A lot of people don't know the difference though. Like, What we're talking about is when you can feel it in your body.
You feel that, and it does something to you. And a lot of exactly. They just don't.
Like,
I don't know.
Have you seen these silent concerts?
Oh, like when Metallica did that thing in Antarctica, because they had to do silent. Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know. I didn't know.
Oh yeah, dude, it was pretty fucking cool to like be the first band that played on like every continent. But there's like these like stipulations for noise pollution in Antarctica, so it was in a globe, and it was silent. If you were standing there without headphones on, you didn't hear. You heard James strumming his strings.
Yes, so that's exactly what I'm talking about.
And the video is weird because the people in the audience are just kind of like, "This is cool," because it's headphones, man.
Right.
It's just different.
It's not the same. No, it's not going to be the same. It can't be the same.
To me, headphones are for more of that like
private.
I'm going to sit here and take this in. Fucking speakers are for I'm going to fucking get amped up.
Yeah, like when you're going to a live show, you go to a live show because there's is it ethereal? Ethereal, is that a word?
Yeah, I know it's a word.
I think this is the right word. It's an ethereal experience.
If only there were a device that fit
do you have a device at the palm of your hand where you can look up the word ethereal? Because I think this is a word, and I think it perfectly describes what it's like to be at a live concert.
Something that is fragile, or something that is light or airy, or something that is from heaven. An example of something ethereal is a glass vase.
Nope.
What is the antonym to ethereal?
I mean, it could be from heaven, but it's definitely something that's more than just listening to the music, is what I was getting at. Like, you can listen to music in your headphones, but being at a concert is something at a significantly elevated level.
Dude, especially, you ever notice too, like...
and it can be spiritual.
Especially if you're in... I call it like the bubble. I'm sure there's a real term for it. But if you're within like a certain proximity of the stage, you're part of the show. You're not observing, you're part of the show. And I remember the very first time I truly noticed that was probably like 22 years ago, maybe even older. I was at, it was probably about 22 years ago. I was at First Ave, and it was Dimmu Borgir, Cannibal Corpse, The Haunted, and Lamb of God. Lamb of God, like one of their very first tours. And during Dimmu, I was there to see Dimmu at the time, and I remember I was like, man, I've never seen these guys before. I think I want to go up front. And I just remember passing through that threshold, and it was the weirdest experience. And this is before I could drink, so I was stone sober before I could drink legally. And and so I just remember this moment where I'm kind of like, I'm part of the audience. I'm part of the audience. And all of a sudden I crossed through, and I'm like, I'm part of the fucking show. And at that moment, I was probably like 18 or 19. I was like, I will, if I can help it, I will always be in this bubble here, because this is an experience. Back here, I was at the show. Here, I was like, I experienced the show. I just remember that. Yeah,
and it's funny because no matter where I'm at, whether it's our concert or whether I'm a guest at a concert, in either capacity, whether it's my buddy playing and you guys invited me and I'm standing backstage, I actually spend a large amount of time watching the crowd respond to your music.
That's fun too,
because that's what's really happening here. Is this is a thing, and it doesn't work when the band isn't playing real instruments live on stage.
Yeah,
like when I'm standing on the side of the stage and all I can really hear are the drums, and then it's just like I gotta move to the other part of the room to hear what you guys are actually playing, because everything's just coming through the PA.
Yeah.
It's not the same, man. Dude, and it's not good. That's what I'm really getting at. It's not good.
And that's kind of what I was getting at too, is like, I think it kills a portion of that bubble. Because the first 4 or 5 rows at least of that bubble, that's stage volume.
Yep.
You take that away, and it's weird. It's almost like I'm watching the show, I'm part of the show, and now I'm back to just watching these guys move around and I don't hear anything.
Exactly.
It's dude, I hate it. I gotta piss again, man.
You gotta piss again?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's play a song because I actually got to piss too. So let's play. I got a couple tunes loaded up. We'll play.
That's a bummer. It didn't.
Yeah, there's something weird with the format because it just wouldn't load up.
I can send you. I don't know if you can play.
Yeah, I can. We'll figure it out. We'll play this song. This is my song. There's vocals on this. Yes, it's the intro song to the podcast where we do ads. But there's actual vocals over this version. I hope you guys like it. It's a pre-production demo. Yeah, all that shit's possible, dude. That shit gets fucking wonky, dude.
It's fucking weird, man.
Yeah, Facebook does not like you sharing anything outside of Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
They absolutely.
Oh yeah, I bet you if you like hosted this on Facebook or something, it would be like,
yeah,
it'd be through the roof. But
yeah, which is weird because then the problem is they give you a credit for a view anytime anybody scrolls by and it's in their feed.
Yeah,
that's a view. It's like, no, it's not. They didn't watch my podcast.
Exactly. Is this your fucking?
Yeah.
I'm a novice, so you go ahead and.
That's a good one.
And after that, I'm going to talk more about how to be a man while I have this other man clip my stogie for me.
So the torpedoes are weird. Usually there's something called a shoulder that's clearly defined and easy to look at. Oh, no. Use this one.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. If I can, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. And that thing sucks. You just smash it over and over again. There you go. And then rotate it while you light it. There you go. Keep going. A little bit longer. That's actually probably pretty good.
You gonna come?
Maybe a little more.
Should I get my hand involved?
No, you're pretty good. You're pretty good. You're pretty good. You're pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now look at it. That's part of the tradition. And blow on it. And blow on it. See how you can see hit the whole thing. That's basically what you're looking for. Is you just want to stay even. And then when you go to hit it, you fucking once, maybe 3 times per minute. So 1 to 3 times per minute. And if you don't want to look like a weirdo, put the fucking cigar between your teeth. Don't do this.
Oh yeah.
Put it yeah. Put it between your teeth. Don't bite it. Don't bite it like you're in prison and somebody just stuck a dick in your mouth.
Y'all don't want me sucking your dick.
But yeah, you put it between your teeth and you.
I accidentally inhaled. That'll be
Did
fun.
you?
Yeah.
You're gonna get super high.
Cool.
You're gonna get super fucking high.
Ask me some really controversial stuff.
So how do you feel about women's rights?
If I want to be happy, then they're always right.
Happy wife, happy life. That's the one thing that cracks me up about people that talk about how in America, like, somehow they believe like we're backwards on women's rights. I'm like, I hope you all realize, man, only in America do we have the phrase happy wife, happy life. It's the only place that's a thing.
Or you can be right, or you can be happy. That's how
like we love women in America. We really do. It seems like we don't to some people, but we do. We do.
You know, it's just like with anything. The outliers are the loudest, right? There's fucking loud ass misogynistic dickhead dudes, right? There's loud ass toxic femininity, whatever you want to call it, women, right? Like these people, of course they exist, you know, but the vast majority of people, especially when you get offline or whatever, you're just in person, to me, the vast majority of people are pretty chill, pretty normal, pretty whatever, right? You know, it's just these loud voices, and then it causes people. Politicians or political parties are seeing that lately. I won't name names, but like they cater to this fringe element, and then they're finding out like, oh, we only got like 10% approval.
You know where I'm noticing the most in this is the Ukraine shit. So there's people that, I'm just gonna say it. There's people that for the last 7 years, so 2015, they've succumbed to Russian and Chinese propaganda. And I believe I have evidence to prove this to be true. Okay. So Russia's rhetoric, still to this day, to justify their incursion / war in Ukraine, their invasion, whatever word you want to use, is they're denazifying.
Yeah,
because the Nazis are a problem. Because white supremacy is a problem.
Yeah, we definitely need to freak out about a 0.0 whatever % of a population.
You're referring to my post. You're referring to my post that because I broke the math down. I said,
I
let's
didn't even
do
see
some.
that.
Oh, you didn't?
I'm talking about because America's like that too.
Okay, yeah, right. And this translates.
Something exists, and so I'm really freaking out. It's like this much.
Okay, so there was a group of white supremacists. Okay, they're genuine white supremacists.
Just piles
at their
of shit.
height,
like straight
at their height.
Yeah,
there was like 4,500 of them.
Not like the American version of white supremacist, or what people call a white supremacist, right?
But I mean, to me, a white supremacist is a white supremacist.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, there's like this curve with it. Like,
no, for me,
yeah.
A white supremacist is a white supremacist. We're gonna break this down. Stick with me. Oh, we got to get rid of this fucking picture-in-picture. Stick with me, okay? Stick with me. Hear me out, okay? to me, a white supremacist is a white supremacist. However, what makes a white supremacist is an extremely and very strict definition. Okay, so
I am on your team there.
So once you become a white supremacist, I don't give a fuck. You're a white supremacist. Done. Done.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, you're not gonna sway the argument.
Right.
Yeah.
Period. Like, but it's hard to get there. It's hard to get there. And I'm saying this as a Jew. I'm saying this as somebody who's very sensitive to this shit. I got Native American blood in me. I'm an eighth black. Like this shit is. I'm not a complete white guy. Like, I would not make the cut if the Fourth Reich showed up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe to look at you might, but if they start talking and digging in.
Fuck, dude, I can fucking talk like a very white person. No, it's the cheekbones. The cheekbones is what fucks me up, dude. They all know. Everybody knows. I don't have blue eyes. I'm fucked.
Right, yeah.
You know, my nose ain't pointing.
They probably loved me until they started talking.
My nose ain't pointing.
They'd be like, "Oh, he's one of us," and then I'd be like, "I think you guys are pieces of shit." Oh, fuck!
Get him!
Get him! I knew it.
But there was like, at best, 4,500 people in Ukraine that were white supremacists. Part of this Azov battalion thing, this militia, right?
Yeah.
Well, then by the time the invasion of Ukraine happened, at best, they were between 1,500 and 2,500. So they'd already lost 2,000 members.
Yeah, right.
And then
we should really talk percentages, right? So what? Like,
no, I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that because first I want to establish how many actual people, are here.
Yep.
Okay. So then, when that war started back in February, at most the estimations were between 15 and 2,500. Now that Mariupol has fallen, they're not sure any of them have lived.
Hopefully
maybe at best. I mean, they're still humans, right? Right? Like, they're still humans. Like, I don't want any human to die.
I guess it depends.
I really don't.
I guess it depends on what their
unless
goal.
You're literally Hitler.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, what was their goal, right? Were they like?
We'll get to that.
Were they talking a bunch of shit, or were they doing a bunch of shit?
They were doing a bunch of shit.
If you're doing a bunch of shit, maybe we don't need you around so much.
But they were also fighting for the independence of Ukraine against Russia.
Yeah, and that
right.
Yeah, everything is such a gradient.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yep.
For now, at least, right? Point being is there really isn't a stable, serious white supremacist presence in Ukraine. However, and this is what I'm getting to, my guy, I'm telling you, man, if you listened to the right or / wrong European media, they talked about the white supremacist party is the second largest political party in Ukraine.
So of course it becomes this virtuous war. God, that sounds familiar, doesn't it?
That's what I'm getting at.
Sounds a little familiar.
Dude, when I started listening to this fucking clearly, obviously Kremlin-based propaganda.
Yeah, this propaganda, yeah.
It started sounding a lot like the shit that we've heard since 2015 here in America.
Yep.
And you start seeing a lot of politicians start sounding like fucking, not only fucking panderers and virtue, but straight up Russian sympathizers. So people like our own Ilhan Omar making statements like, we need to be careful handing these guns out to the Ukrainian people because we don't know who's getting their hands on them, especially when there's such an extreme threat of white supremacy in Ukraine. I'm telling you right now, brother, Ilhan Omar is a Russian sympathizer. Like, she is a fucking communist and she wants the destruction of America. You combine this shit with the crazy shit she said during the riots, bro, where she was talking about American democracy and capitalism are racist and corrupt to their core, and they need to be torn down to their foundation and rebuilt from the ground up. Yeah, I bet you won't find that. I bet you won't find that because they scrubbed that shit. Because she said that shit live on the fucking radio while I was driving home from work. And I will never forget what she said during the heat of the riots. Because everything got a whole lot worse that night.
Do you mean the mostly peaceful protests?
The mostly peaceful protests, dude. Because we're in Minneapolis. For anybody that's not 100% on board or understand what we're talking about, we live in Minneapolis where George Floyd happened 2 years ago.
Which we should also probably toss out there that George Floyd was murdered by a Minneapolis police officer.
Yeah.
And
unjustly.
To me, there's no disputing that.
No,
so we're not talking about that. We're talking about something completely different.
Yeah. His constitutional rights were absolutely violated. Like, no, that was a problem.
And I don't care if he did drugs or he did this or that. In that moment, that was wrong.
Even criminals... Like I said, even criminals have rights. I don't care if you raped a woman. I don't care if you murdered a man. You have the right to a fair trial. I don't care what you did. I don't care if you're white, black, man or woman, gay, trans, fucking straight, cisgender. I don't give a fuck, bro. The Constitution applies to all of us, including illegal immigrants. That's why people still say I'm a lefty. Like, even the Republicans don't like me very much, man. Yeah, because I say that shit, dude, because that's true. The Constitution does not only apply to American citizens.
Yep. If you're in America, it applies to you.
100%.
Yep. But that's okay because this new generation, I shouldn't say that. That's a stupid thing to say. Sorry, that's a generalization. There's a faction of people who think that we need to like dismantle the Constitution. It's just whatever. It's clearly an inability to think
I'm telling
critically.
You, those are people, and this is, thank you. So that brings it back to what I was actually saying. These are people who attack the Constitution. I read an article on the morning show the other day. The Constitution was literally written by slave owners. Why are Americans so obsessed with upholding it? That is somebody who has been compromised by Russia or China. That is somebody who's been compromised by Russia or China.
That's borderline personality disorder thinking. It's black and white, no pun intended. It's, it's either... People are either all good or all bad. That's the world that a lot of these people are living in these days. And what they're finding is that humans are flawed. Humans are out on gradient, and you also can't look, okay, like what, obviously, no, it was fucking awful that they owned slaves and stuff, right? We know that.
Everybody owned slaves, though. We need to just set that. Everyone at that time owned slaves.
That's what I was gonna kind of go to. And by
sorry, I didn't mean to jump on you.
No, and by no means I'm not being an apologist. Nothing like that. I'm just saying you got to have some perspective. It's really tough to take 2022 to take 2022 like where we are at now as people and as a country, whatever. It's hard to, you can't apply that same lens to 250 300 years ago. If anything, and to me, this is my opinion, to me there's two ways you can look at that. You can take where we are now and you can look at the past and you can go, man, I hate those people, they were awful, we shouldn't, everything they did sucked because of this. Or maybe you can go, wow, we've come a long way in a really short period of time.
Well, and not only that, but those same people who wrote the fucking Declaration of Independence, they were all from the North, the 13 colonies.
Yeah.
Which were the same 13 colonies that abolished slavery and went to war and defeated the South that was pro-slavery.
Yeah.
We might need a butane refill on that. See if it works.
Let's see if it works.
But that's what fucking pisses me off about that.
There we go.
These
are probably the most controversial conversations I've ever gotten into on your podcast. I normally shy away from all of this, but
it's the sign of the times, man. I mean, this is what we're dealing with, dude. And we want to be reasonable. Oh, that's fine.
For me, it's just gotten to a point where I just have. There's only one thing I don't have tolerance for anymore, and that's inability to think critically. And everywhere I look, I shouldn't say that. A lot of places that I look, like I said, it's like okay, and like root cause analysis, like there's 5 why, right? Yeah, whatever.
What does that mean?
That's like probably one of the most basic root cause analysis tools. So you just ask why, a certain number of times until you get to the root cause, right? And,
so you ask why 5 times?
Well, 5 is kind of an arbitrary number. They had to give it a number, right? It could be 2, it could be 50. More often than not, what happens is it fractures because things are complex, right? So you could be, I don't know, pick an issue we have right now. We could fucking walk it through the 5 whys right now.
Well, what are we talking about right now?
We're talking about, what are we talking about? Russian, the propaganda.
The idea that white supremacy is, because this is what my point is. So if we're doing debate class, resolve. White supremacy is not a tangible threat to American security. Mm-hmm. However, if you listen to Ilhan Omar and a lot of people like her, it's the number one threat to American national security. And is what I'm trying to say is I'm going to use a phrase my buddy Kevin coined. The KKK is out of style.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been out of style.
Dude, yeah.
White supremacy ain't hip, and it ain't been hip for a long time. No. And y'all are tripping about a thing that is so minuscule and ridiculous. Maybe subtle racism is more of a thing than it ever has been. Racial tension is definitely at an all-time high.
That is
we shouldn't even say all-time high. No. Racial tension has been at a higher rate than it's been since 1980,
and even that
1975. I don't know.
If you hop offline, though, that's the other thing. If you get off social media and you just have normal, genuine human interaction, it doesn't look the way it looks on social media. It still exists for sure, but it's not, I don't know, it's just not like that in the, and I there's probably maybe
I worry that we oversimplify these things into the argument that the media and social media simply highlight the worst of us more than ever. Well, I worry about that.
Well, it keeps falling off, and I'll put it back on.
It's
just that
you're fucked.
It's just two different. Here we go.
You're fucked.
You're
so fucked.
It's just that
we might as well light you a new one.
Hey,
just let that one go. Let's just light a new one, dude.
No. I'm fucking going.
It's done. It's done. It's not possible. Now that cigar's not going to taste good. You lost the wrapper, dude. That's not a thing. In fact, I'm going to crush it.
It's just one layer. It's one layer.
No, it's not just one layer. It's the wrapper. Give it to me. We're done. We're done. Give
this
it to
layer. Me. This is the white supremacist party of America right now.
Crushed in the palm of our hand.
Burn it all down because this exists.
Give me that piece of shit. That's done.
I want it.
No, we're done with this.
I want to give it a chance.
Grab another one.
I can fix it.
Okay. Is Mercury also in retrograde?
It's in Gatorade.
Dude, okay.
It just, by the way, I wanted to say though, I'm going
to show you where to cut this. You're going to be responsible for this. You're going to grab a different one. That one's a little tight.
It also just totally dawned on me that it's two white dudes talking about white supremacy or whatever.
Well, I'm technically very mixed. I look white, but I'm technically not white because again, I wouldn't make the cut.
I'm not going to say my heritage because it's not going to help the conversation. I'm very much Scandinavian.
All right, so you want to cut it. See this wrap right here?
Yeah, it's like the foreskin.
Yeah. It's that one.
My body, my choice. Where's my fucking foreskin?
So you want to?
I'm just joking.
You want to grab it right above the end of this. So about where my nail is. You want to grab it right about there.
I see it.
Approximately. And as straight as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's pretty solid. Yeah, that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid.
I feel like I'm a moil.
All right, now.
You should know that. You're a Jew. I'm a moil.
That's not how circumcisions work.
We're gonna need a bigger one for you. I've seen your dong. We're gonna need
the circumcisions don't work like that.
That's how they do it.
Dude, do you know?
Do they do it at 20 weeks or do they do it at?
Do you know about the fucking the AIDS issue with Jewish babies?
No, I don't.
So. Okay, so we're gonna do this again.
I feel bad, man. I wasted that cigar.
No. Listen. Look at the wrapper. Hold on. Look at the wrapper. The spiral. It's going in a direction. Here's what happened on the last one. The spiral is going one way, and you spun it the opposite way. So you unfurled it, and it just unraveled itself. So when you spin it in your mouth, You want to just make sure when you're lighting it.
So this one goes counterclockwise.
Yeah, because it's a left hand or a right hand roll.
Yeah.
This is a thing. This is a thing. A lot of cigar smokers.
So listen to my podcast where I tell you how to be a man.
This is part of it, though. Part of being a man is like learning, right? Being
exactly,
and like being humble
and admitting that you don't know what the fuck.
Yeah,
you're
you
talking
don't know
about.
what the fuck you're talking about. We all got to learn. Yeah. So a big thing is just slowing down. Oh, that lighter's dead. We got to put some butane in it. A big thing is just slowing down and fucking realizing what fucking direction that fucking cigar is wrapped, right?
See, before that, I didn't know that it mattered.
Exactly. And
See,
if you were
learned
afraid,
something.
And if you were afraid, like Jamal Sanders,
Jamal Sanders,
he knows what I just did. You know what I just did. You wouldn't be willing to ask those questions in public because you don't want to be humiliated, which I suffer from that as well. So let's bring this back to don't be a man. Or don't be that guy. You're close. Give it another one. We're gonna have to turn up the flame. Give me that fucking lighter. What a piece of shit. I need a new lighter. This fucking lighter sucks. So let's bring it back to don't be that guy.
There we go.
So I think one of the best parts of being a healthy man, like a real man, is reading the instructions and asking for directions. Yeah. So now we're really pumping fuel. You will recover that cigar if you fucking... There you go. Nice. That's perfect. You're good. So part of I think being a man is asking for help, reading directions, reading manuals, and asking for directions. Like this is a big part of... For me, seriously, because like, dude, I buy complex pieces of machinery, and I fucking like, do you have the manual? And every once in a while, a guy will look at me and go, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you have the manual? And he's like, what are you talking about, dude? Just figure it out, bro. You should just like Google it. And then, but most of the time, when I buy complex machinery, and I'm talking like fucking like real shit, guys like hand me the manual that they have extensive notes in. Like, oh, when you run across this problem, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Here's the part number. You know what I mean? Like, there is an arrogant side of dudes, and it is just douchey, man.
Dude, it is. To me, the most manly thing... Well, I'm only saying that it's also a good thing for women to do, but whatever. I'm a dude, so I'm talking about dudes.
Ask for fucking help.
Being secure enough to admit that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know enough about this subject. You don't... Whatever. Like, to me, security is manly. Like being secure in yourself. So being able to say, hey man, like I fucking fucked up.
Look
your
how much
stogie.
better that's rolling though.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's
like your
just,
second try though. Right?
And granted,
and to do this publicly is a bigger deal. And this isn't staged. This is not staged. I hope people don't think this is staged. I just jumped on this because it was like once he ripped the actual wrapper off, I was like, that cigar's done.
And by no means,
just move on.
And by no means do I think I'm the be all end all to any of that. Like that's the thing I'm
Do
most.
you remember when we were in a band and I said something and you looked at me and you were like, "If anyone disagrees with me, you're an idiot." I say that phrase to this day. I'm like, I know everything, and if you disagree with me, you're an idiot. And it's completely hyperbolic. Like it's because you made me laugh. You said that out loud, and dude, I started laughing so fucking hard. I will never forget that rehearsal. I started laughing so hard it fucked up the rest of the night. Like I remember being mid lyric, like and start laughing because your face when you said that, like, dude, oh my god. I don't know what it is about tonight, but dude, we're just like bringing up old memories.
We're riffing. No, it's like, and I want to make it clear, like by no means do I think I'm like the be all end all of like I'm going to tell you what it means to be a man. Like none of that whatsoever. Like honestly, like that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm hoping the podcast grows into like, I mean, I'll just say it. I don't know if this is offensive or not. It's so hard to miss these landmines anymore. But like, I want to have like, the super, tough alpha dudes on there, right? But I also want to have like gay dudes, and I want to have like trans men, and I want to be able to show that like all of these people, even though they're extremely different from each other,
Yeah.
can show you like what it, you know what I mean? Like what, like there's different degrees to like manliness, and it doesn't mean that you have to be Mr. Fresh and Fit, and it doesn't mean that you have to be Mr. Passive. And
a great example is my stepdad, who now has an aneurysm and he's fucking going through this fucking, it's dude, it's fucking, he's climbing mountains, bro. Like it's progress is relative. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, what are your expectations? But before he had any of this happen, before he had any of this happen to him, in many ways, you could refer to Dan, that's my stepdad's name, you could refer to him as being an alpha male. And then literally in the same day, you could be like, bro, you're being a bitch right now. The difference is, for me, and this is, again, we're kind of beating around the bush and we're kind of dancing around the side. What is it to be a man? And this is kind of what I'm getting the vibe. This is kind of what your podcast is we don't know.
Yes! Sorry, that excited me because that's exactly it. Let's fucking figure it out.
Right. And we're kind of like, well, he's definitely a man, but he's also been a bitch. Yeah. Right? Well, he's a man, but he's a bitch in this other area. So, like, well, he's definitely a man and he's definitely a man. So, wait a minute. If they're both men, like, what are we talking about? Because, again, Dan is not the guy who is going to jump into a fucking fight, like a fist fight.
Yeah.
But Dan is a guy where if you shove him, he's not afraid to swing punches.
Yep.
Dan is also the guy who will work 12 hours a day swinging an axe or turning a wrench or fixing a fucking water pump on a car or building a deck. Any of the cliche man shit you want, right? Mm-hmm. He'll fucking mow his lawn and have that shit looking like a golf course. Right? That's a big deal to 50-year-old men. Like, like that's what it means to be a man. Take care of your lawn.
As long as your grass looks good.
You know what I mean? Like, these things are so relative.
You fucked over your kids, but your lawn looks fucking awesome. Not him, but I mean, like.
My final statement on this is this. I'm not sure I can define what a man is.
Same.
But.
Well, we won't go down that.
But I know what a bitch looks like when I see one. Mm-hmm. And I don't give, if you got a dick, I may not be able to tell if you're a man right away, but if you're a bitch, I know that within seconds.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to fucking say. This is not Jeremy Blake's podcast yet, but this is what I will say on this issue. I may not be able to define you're a man until I get to know you deeply, like really deeply. And sometimes I might think you're a bitch for months, weeks, even years. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden I see you in a moment and I go, that's a fucking man. Mm-hmm. That is a fucking man. However, if you're a bitch, I know that shit within moments.
Yep.
Within moments. There's a vibe. There's an energy. There's bitches and there's men. And it does not matter whether you have a penis, because I know women who are more of a man than a lot of men. That's another thing I want to say, because I know some tough bitches and my wife is one of them. My wife is one of the toughest, strongest bitches I've ever met, and she makes me feel like a bitch from time to time. I watch my wife do what she does, and I'm like, I don't feel like a man anymore.
Dude,
I feel soft.
There are a lot of fucking... And that might... I'll finish that statement. There are a lot of fucking tough ass women out there. A lot of them.
I call them bad bitches.
And
on this
I'm not
podcast.
Saying that is some.
They're called bad bitches
fucking,
on this podcast. They're called bad bitches.
I'm not pandering or whatever. I'm just saying there are a lot of women out there. There's a couple. There's this girl I know. This girl I know named Nikki. Fucking awesome, badass chick for sure, dude. She would give many supposed alpha males a run for their money. And I'm not just saying that because I want to sleep with her, because I don't. She's my friend. But anyways, because I'm not a fucking whatever, one of those fucking...
Well, I mean, they are tougher than us in many ways.
They can give birth.
They literally have a higher pain tolerance, dude, because of their ability to give birth.
Even if you haven't
it's in
given
their
birth, it's already there. You are already... And that's not a pandering thing.
It's in the DNA.
You can push a fucking watermelon out of something. I mean, yeah, it dilates up to whatever, however many inches, but that's still not anywhere near the size of a fucking baby's melon.
No, it's scientifically proven that women have a higher physical pain threshold.
Watch a girl get tattooed. Watch a girl get tattooed. She'll fucking sit still on a rib cage. You know what I mean? Me, I'm fucking squealing around when you're doing my calf. You know what I mean? Like,
I also know for a fact that every single woman I've ever known, when they get sick with a disease, like flu, severe cold, corona, whatever, they're still taking care of the fam.
Yeah.
The most badass men I know, including myself. And I'm a tough motherfucker, dude. I really am. And you kind of know that, dude. We've been through some shit together. Like, I ain't no bitch, dude. I ain't no bitch, man. I may be skinny. I may be smaller than a lot of dudes.
That has nothing to do with shit.
That ain't,
Do you show up?
I'm a bad man. I'm a bad person.
Do you fucking, to me, do you show up? Do you fucking step up to the plate?
When I'm sick, the answer is no. The answer is, when I'm sick, the answer is no, Jeremy. The answer is, I become a baby. I start whining. I start crying. I literally say, I'm dying. I need to hold me. I literally tell my girl, whoever I'm with, my wife, my ex-girlfriends, whoever, I got a paper towel for you.
Just so people watching know, that wasn't a drunk move. That was just an idiot move. I've only had a couple beers, but fuck. Sorry about that. That fucker.
I'm just glad it wasn't me for once. To be honest, that's my biggest relief, is it wasn't me. Finally, somebody else uses it and they talk with their hands. Finally, somebody else is enthusiastic.
I talk with my hands way too much.
Because every time I spill a beer, it's exactly that reason.
And it sucks because there's no better way to look like you're drunk
wasted
than to do that and then to go, it's not because I'm drunk, like I just did.
Exactly. No, I believe you. I hope the audience believes you. But every woman I've ever been with, when I'm super sick, and I mean like really sick, not just like I have a cold, but I mean like I have the flu or
you're fucking sick.
One of the times I had corona, I was like, hold me. Like literally I just need you to fucking hold me. And I say it even more pathetically. I go, hold me.
I'm kind of,
I'm such a bitch about it.
As much as I hate to admit it, because I was thinking about
hold me.
I was thinking about it as you were talking. I was like, at first I was like,
hold me.
At first I was like, well, no, like, you know, one of my other faults is that I think I can do everything by myself. So I'm not really like that when I'm sick. This is what I was thinking as you were talking. But then as you were talking more, I was like, no, that's not true. That is exactly what I do when I'm sick. Maybe not the hold me part, but I'm very much like...
I'm being literal. Like, I'm like, hold me.
I mean, maybe I don't say it, but I definitely... Well, it's hard to say. I've been single for a few years now.
Just hold me. Just cuddle me. Like, I'm so fucking pathetic and worthless right now. I, like, feel vulnerable. I feel like I'm dying. And if I'm going to die... Because I feel like I'm dying when I'm that sick. I literally feel like I'm dying. I'm like, I just don't want to die alone. Just fucking hold me.
Dude,
like, hold me while I'm dying.
I will tell you, for me, like,
I don't feel like less of a man for admitting that in public, on the internet, live. I don't give a fuck.
See,
judge me. I can kill you with my bare hands. And I do that 7 days a week.
That little thing you said right there, that's what I'm hoping from the podcast. What I'm hoping for is that, like, there's these like organic conversations that happen, and then throughout the conversation, it's like, man, I'm admitting this publicly, you know, like I'm saying, and what I'm hoping is that men and women in trans or whatever you are, you watch it and you're kind of like, hey, like, yeah, there is nuance to this. There's gradients to this. There's this, there's that, you know what I mean? And like, I don't know. I'm just trying to find, like, I guess just like that happy medium, and by no means am I trying to, the goal is not to tell anybody what they need to do or anything like that. It's more to just like have those conversations and just kind of showcase like, hey, some of the dudes that you maybe thought were kind of like bitches are actually like pretty fucking tough. And maybe some of the dudes you thought were really tough have moments of vulnerability. Like we're kind of all in this thing, right? You know, and yeah, there's the extremes, of course.
One of the things I think is super manly is suffering. I do think this is part of being like a real man, is suffering.
I think being like, a human, you need to suffer.
Yeah, because I definitely think the women that we were mentioning earlier are doing the same thing. They're persevering through the suffering.
The women that
the women that I love and respect are the best at persevering through suffering.
Yeah, that's what I almost censored myself for a second, but yeah, fuck that. No, the women that I truly respect are like that. They face the shit. They do the same things that I want us men to do. They face things. They hold themselves accountable. They have responsibility, and they're committed to growth and becoming better and not pointing the finger everywhere else.
Which is crazy because basically is what we're kind of like getting to. Yeah, and we're not necessarily even close to wrapping this up, but I feel like we're wrapping up this idea.
Mm-hmm. I took tomorrow off, so
correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But here's what I'm thinking. What we're really describing is what it takes to be a real woman, what it takes to be a real man, is synonymous with what it means to be a fucking adult.
Yes.
Am I right? Am I right or am I fucking wrong, bro?
Dude.
It is technically bisexual.
Yeah.
It transcends
It's
sexual
genderless.
orientation. It is gender neutral.
Yeah.
It's called being a fucking adult.
Be a fucking adult. Fucking stand in front of the mirror. Hold yourself accountable for your decisions, your actions, your thought process, your inability, all that accountability. And you know what? I'd love to go down that path as on the podcast, but I'm not about to be a big bearded, bald-headed, tattooed white man explaining to women at all what it means to be a woman. So I'm gonna skip past that one. But
you could talk about.
But it is synonymous.
But you could talk about. Like, here's the thing, ladies. Stop doing this because we're not into that. Like, you're looking for where are all the good men? Well, here's the reason you're not attracting good men. Is because you're doing this, this, and this. One of the reasons I married my wife is because she does not have a Facebook or an Instagram account. That is not the reason. That is one of 1,000 reasons.
Yeah.
But it was surprisingly high on the list because I knew and had an amazing amount of confidence that there's no dudes sliding into her DMs. It's just not a thing.
Yeah.
My girlfriend at the time, my wife now, is not out there putting ass pics on Instagram. That's not a thing. She's not insecure. She's not seeking outside validation.
Me personally, I see, and
That's a big deal.
I'm not saying it is, but
this actually falls back into that shit Fresh and Fit are talking about.
I see it as insecurity when I see all that, right? Like one of my I almost made a meme the other day, but I didn't because I don't want to argue with people, but I'll just say it here on the podcast, right? So the meme I was about to make was you don't need to take a Facebook quiz to tell you if you're narcissistic or not. Just look back at the 100 selfies you posted this week.
Right. That's
like,
fucking genius.
You keep posting these you took this quiz and I'm not.
That's fucking genius.
I see 20 stories.
Those thoughts, those original ideas that you have like that, dude, from me knowing you for as long as we've known each other, brother. Like, fuck music, dude. I'm telling you, man, you need to fucking do a little stand-up comedy, dude. Because I'm telling you,
this is the worst time to get into comedy.
The way you think, but it does actually, it might be the best time because it's the most dangerous time.
That's true.
And the way you think about things, and like just that little turn of phrase right there, like you don't need to take a test. Just look at the 100 photos you posted of yourself, you narcissistic bitch.
Like, and dudes too, man. Like I'm telling you, like
because I would have never thought of that.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. Like I don't know.
I've never heard a comedian even bring that idea up. Dude, that is a genius idea. Like that's a bit that you could easily turn around and work out on stage, dude. I'm telling you.
I've been thinking about it a lot, but but like,
you definitely should try it. Dude.
And I want to say too, like, and that goes for the dudes too. Like, dudes, I don't care how hard you're working out. You don't have to post a progress pic every few days of you in your boxers with your boxer pulled way up where you fluffed your fucking dong.
Unless you're 400 pounds and you're legitimately starting an Instagram.
Yeah, like it's like your
to create a journey.
Yeah,
like there's one guy I follow. He was 450 pounds. He's down to 250 now. And when he takes a lot of pictures with his shirt off, he looks disgusting.
I give a mulligan. I do give a mulligan to men and women.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he's not doing it because he looks good.
That's different.
He looks disgusting. He actually looks significantly worse losing the weight because of the sagging skin.
Yeah, I was
like it's horrifying. But
those people can motivate me or inspire.
That's what I'm getting at.
Inspire.
That's what I'm getting at. That's what I was gonna say.
You're hitting it, even though at the end of your workout, because of the skin and all that stuff, like you're not necessarily looking in the mirror and being like, but you're still fucking doing it,
and he feels better.
and he feels.
That's the thing is like I can see the joy in his face when he makes these
that
posts.
glow.
Like his body looks like something out of a fucking cartoon. Like it's like a melted candle. Like it doesn't look good. He knows that. He knows we know that. We know he knows we know that. But the joy on his face, we can tell how he feels. So people like me, I don't need to lose weight. In fact, I'm trying to gain weight. We joked about me going Fat Mac earlier, which I'm stuffing my face with every fucking calorie I can possibly put in.
I'm season 7 Mac right now. I'm about to be season 8, though. I thickened up.
I'm going to sculpt this marble.
I got a little thick this winter. I'm sorry. I hope ladies really mean it when they say they're like dad bods.
But I'm actually getting motivated from him having the dedication to lose that weight, be a man, humiliate himself online. I'm like, if he can do it, I can do this.
Dude, you know what I think?
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was just going to add on to that.
It's like the opposite.
No, like one of the things that I personally think is manly is vulnerability.
That's what I was getting
at. And I also think to take the gender out of it.
And we call that, in the man industry, we say, he's got balls.
He's got balls.
That dude's got balls.
He's got balls.
And there's something that happens in the music industry, too. I don't want to cut you off, but I need to say this now before I forget this.
Yeah.
I was actually working with a chick, and she said this, so I want to give her name's Abby. I worked the VCon with her in downtown Minneapolis. We worked with Snoop Dogg and Eva Longoria and Beeple and like a bunch of A-list celebrities. It was fucking super cool. I'll tell you about it. I'll tell you more details later. It was fucking really cool. I got a bunch of fucking dope ass numbers, including somebody from
oh, nice.
Yeah, it's fucking pretty cool. So
y'all don't know what we just said,
but her name's Abby, and she's the one that said this.
Abby Normal.
She said, "Here's the thing: is like that guy sucks. We know he sucks. He knows we know he sucks, but he had the balls to suck in public.
Yeah,
and that's why he's famous and making money."
Dude, I'm telling you,
it's just about confidence and courage, and that is a big part of being a man or a woman, dude, right? Just like having the balls or the guts. Really, we should just say guts because guts is
or the vagina.
No, you gotta have the guts.
Pounding.
You gotta have guts.
Yeah,
and it really doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. All of these things transcend gender. Really, what we're talking about is these principles: is vulnerability, security, and the willingness to take risks.
Yes,
perseverance.
Yep,
these things are not exclusive to being men.
No, I find those things extremely sexy and endearing in women. Like, for instance, maybe I won't say sexy, but one of the most endearing things for me, like in the dating scene, is if a woman is able to be vulnerable, that to me is like, I'm in. And when I say vulnerable, I don't mean like timid, and I mean like be goofy. Be a fucking dork. Be yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Be free. Be
my
like
favorite trait about my wife.
Just be. I love that so much.
I'll be down here balls deep in work, and I'm like really like seriously because I kind of sit right here. Like this is kind of my office, right? And sometimes I'll be editing music. Sometimes I'll just be watching YouTube. Right? Doesn't matter. But usually I'll be balls deep into something, and she'll walk in right kind of where you're standing in between there and their camera, and she'll just do like some goofy ass like dance. And just like seriously goofy, and I'll just start laughing, and I'll be like, "What's up, babe?
That's the girl you marry."
Clearly, you're trying to get my attention. What do you need?
Yeah,
like you got me. What do you want, babe?
For me, I won't name names, but the best relationship I've ever had in my life,
John Gensmer.
The best relationship I've ever had in my life. Of course, it ended. So whatever. Those are there's other intangibles, but it was with a woman. I was with her for 7-8 years. I think you put the fucking pieces together, but so vulnerable, so just goofy and fun. And I remember a few years into the relationship, we were sitting there together, and I remember she wasn't even saying anything. There's just the way she was, like her demeanor. And I remember looking over at her and thinking like, she's my best friend. You know what I mean? I'm like, because she's just so fucking
Was
real.
that after you got married or before you got married?
That was my ex-wife. I'll just say it. That was my ex-wife.
But was it before or after you got married?
It was before we got married.
See, for me, that moment happened after we got married.
There was another moment that happened after we got married that like kind of took it to another level, you know. But obviously we're divorced.
Like I've always said, let me just take a little heat off you for a minute. Let me. Can I do that?
I don't
for
want
you?
to think I'm
Can
like
I do that
obsessed
for you?
with my ex-wife.
Can I do this for you?
Like,
Can I do this for you?
Yeah,
Can I take a little bit of this off you for a minute?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying though, right?
So I used to say my best friend is Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
Now I say my best friend who I don't have sex with is Kevin.
Yes, yes.
That's the difference. And that changed from before I got married to after I got married.
Mm-hmm.
My wife is my best friend.
Yeah. Dude, it's
Kevin
beautiful.
is my best friend. I don't fuck.
Yeah.
He's my best friend. I don't stick my dick in.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And there's a huge difference there.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know there was a difference until well after I got married. It took me a couple of years into our marriage to realize, like, oh, wait a minute. There's something different. Because honestly, I don't really need to censor myself between either of them.
Yeah.
But there's a certain level of judgment that Kevin gives me that I don't get from my wife, dude. My wife will ride the wave with me a little bit longer than Kevin will. Kevin will be like, that's not funny. And my wife will be like, that's kind of funny.
Dude, it's kind of
shit.
I mean, it's like, you know, like
it's
when
my favorite part about being married. And I just hope. And honestly, I don't have a lot of faith in myself, so I'm like just waiting till the day she leaves me. Yeah. But for now, it's like a sanctum that I live in.
It's a beautiful thing. Like, I mean, I can't speak for every dude out there, but I know you and I are on the same page. And if there are any ladies listening who are into men,
for the ladies,
I mean,
for the ladies,
definitely. I'm not one to compartmentalize. You know what I mean? I don't want my girlfriend and then this and then, you know what I mean? Like, I mean,
I prefer to keep my girlfriend and my wife separate. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't have a girlfriend. I'm kidding.
No, I just like, I love like.
I had to. You set me up, bro. Dude. You fucking softballed that one home, bro.
Oh, dude. No, I fucking, dude, it's the best, man. When like, when both of you can just be super fucking dorky and just dumb. It like when you can both be just horribly unattractive and horribly, you know what I mean? And just be. It's fucking beautiful, dude. And I've been in, majority of my relationships have not been like that. They've been very like, I got to make sure I look good every time. All the, you know what I mean? Like there's just like this thing. And you just like, it feels like you moved back in with your parents or something. And then like those other relationships where they're vulnerable and you're vulnerable, it's just so different. Like you can breathe and you can just be and you can live, and the closeness and the intimacy that comes from that. It might not translate to like fucking intimacy. That's a whole different thing. But the intimacy of that connection of just, you know what I mean, like what you and your wife had, and like, and even what my ex-wife and I had, we had some other things happen, that's why we're divorced and whatever, but that, like, just being able to be that, and that's part of why I'm still single, because like I won't settle for less than that,
right?
You know, and so I vet a lot.
Yeah.
That is one thing about social, like I see a lot of people complaining about the dating scene. I got one piece of advice for you. Learn how to vet prior to going on a date. The dating scene doesn't suck if you know who not to meet up with for a drink first. And it's not that hard to figure out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And because of that, now granted, you know, I've gone on a handful of dates or whatever.
Well, how do you do that if you're like meeting somebody on Tinder?
I mean, okay, so first off, I'm not on any dating apps, and I won't do dating apps. It's way too hard for people to hide who they are on a dating app. And so one of the benefits of social media is if you know what to look for, you can look for patterns. And you can look for, you know, behavioral patterns, and you can know, like, now maybe you don't necessarily know 100% that, like, oh, hey, this won't work.
I don't want you to go too deep into this because I feel like this is an episode of your podcast. This is a subject. No, this is a subject of your podcast. What it's like to be a man, navigate the online dating scene. Here's the red flags to look out for.
Maybe. I mean,
so go into it, but don't spoil everything.
I mean,
don't give away all your cookies.
But
it's now.
To me, sometimes to me, it's even hard to call. Like, I don't even use the term red flags anymore. I use the term yellow flags, because what might be a red flag to me might not be a red flag to this other person, or maybe something that you do. I'm assuming it's a red flag because of my prior experiences, but it might not be.
But I feel like red flags should be red flags.
It's just for me. I mean, there are some, like, obviously, like, tried and true red flags.
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I'm not talking about those, but there's a lot of things I see people say, like, oh, this is a red flag. This is a red flag. It's like, well, you got to take it in context, though. Like, learn more about this person, learn this and that, and some, maybe that's not quite a red flag. Maybe that's a one-off. Maybe that's like,
okay,
you know what I mean? Like, because we all have moments of
like maybe we're a little too liberal with our definition of red flags.
Yeah, to me,
maybe we need to redefine some of these red flags as yellow flags.
Yeah, like for me, I also look at green flags, which is something you never hear people fucking talk, or hardly ever hear people. But I look at green flags like, hey, that's a green flag action. You know what I mean? Like somebody who holds themselves accountable. Like, you'll see that sometimes throughout, and it's not just one social media post. Anybody can be fake. But if you look at the pattern, you can kind of see the pattern of, like, who is this person and who are they trying to convince people that they are? You can kind of see that pattern. And so for me, it's like, I dissect all that shit first. And I take that, like, I know a lot of people complain about that talking stage. Hey, that's fine, man. If you don't want to go through the talking stage with me for a few weeks, then go date somebody else. Mm-hmm. I'm going to spend a few weeks talking to you before I meet up with you. I'm going to feel you out. And I want you to feel me out too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I mean, makes sense to me.
It's not just about it. Like, are you good for me? Am I good for you? There have been girls that I've gone on dates with who would have been awesome for me, but I would not have been awesome for them. And so it was just like,
sure,
let's not date because, like, yeah, you're good for me, but I'm not good for you.
Right.
So I don't know, dude. It's just a weird world out there, but that's my biggest advice, being a dude who's just turned 41, been in the, dating scene sort of for, 3 years or whatever now. Like, you gotta be more proactive. You gotta really vet people. You gotta learn about people. You gotta be patient. Don't drag the talking stage out for months, but don't jump into a date a week into it. Because here's the thing, especially if you're a dude, you show up on that date and she's a train wreck, but she's hot. You're about to enter into a world of hurt, because and probably for girls too. But I'm not going to speak for what girls think. That's
there's like 1 to
that's
10.
The only reason I'm leaving that out is I just don't know what
there's 1 to 10% of girls. 1 to 10% that are a train wreck because you're not in their life.
Yeah, maybe some and guys too, right? I know, like, there's
like
girls
I know a couple girls that just finally met a stable dude, and suddenly they're like literally wives and moms, and like, I'm like, damn, like, your shit really worked out for you.
I know a guy.
Literally all it took was just one dude who was like a stable person who wasn't gonna beat the shit out of them and cheat on them and fucking terrorize them. Here, let me help you out. Ready?
Oh, wait.
That's not how you do it, dude. Just relax. Just relight it. There you go.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, it's like a blunt. No, it's...
Okay, so now is what you got to do is you got to lick it and you got to rewrap it. Lick it, like real... Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're good at that, you fucking weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Yeah, and just pull it back, dude. Just keep that wrapper on there, because that's going to keep the integrity of the entire cigar. Yep, and reverse, like sop it, like you're doing, and then reverse so you tighten it up. Right? So like this.
There we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like this, though. Mm-hmm. Like reverse it and like really wet it. That's why you see a lot of guys that have like a sopper, because they overcut it or they oversmoked it or whatever, and they're maintaining the integrity as they're going down.
See, you're all watching me learn how to smoke a real stogie.
Yeah.
Instead of a Swisher
Shout out to
Sweet.
Marco V, by the way.
Yeah.
Marco V supplies these cigars that we smoke on the podcast.
Nice.
You guys can use my discount code and go save 15% off. There
Hell
you go.
yeah.
There's your shout out.
Do it! No, man. I don't know where the fuck I was
This has
going.
been fun, dude.
This
has
is fun,
been
dude.
so much fun.
I don't know where the fuck I was going, man. I told you, dude. I fucked my brain up the last few months.
Like I said, dude, honestly, man, and I've been telling you this for a while, dude, and I feel like we're finally starting to get into the groove where it's like, you guys don't need to have an agenda when you come on.
Mhm.
Like, I know what I'm fucking doing. We're going to have a conversation. We're going to have fun. We're going to talk about things. We'll try to push it as much in the direction as we want. But at the end of the day, bro, we're just having fun, man. We're just having conversations.
I'm gonna take another piss and then let's fucking. Is anybody chatting?
Let's see.
Get into the chat a little bit.
Let's do some chatty chats.
Or we just
Drop some questions, y'all motherfuckers. Y'all motherfuckers. I got one more thing I'm going to play you guys while we wait for Jeremy to come black. Jeremy to come black. This is a music video from a rock band I used to be in called Good Touch, Bad Touch. I played drums in this band. It's fucking badass. And as much as I hate John Diley, who's the singer of this band, because he ruined everything, I still love this guy. I really do. I really love John Diley. I miss this band. I think it's great. I hope you guys like it. We'll be right back.
send you the YouTube link to the snippet of it.
Yeah, send it to me, dude.
But this is just only a snippet, but...
All right, that's an old rock band I used to be in. You know, the funny part about that song is that John Diley, the lead singer of that band, who I begrudgingly, not begrudgingly, no. Let me stop. I'm doing myself a disservice. I'm doing him a disservice. John is a creative genius. He's just a terrible person. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and backtrack on what I've said about him. No, he's a horrible human being, but goddamn, was he a creative genius? And I miss him, and I miss being in a band with him, even with all the bad shit he put me through, and he fucking sabotaged that band. Like, I mean, we're talking like the worst version of the music industry, because that band could have been good. We were basically like a more upbeat, obnoxious Royal Blood before Royal Blood even existed. Like, we could have been a big deal. Like, that band was good. We were drawing. Like we had buzz, we had real buzz, we had real people in the big industry, the real industry, like actually calling us like, hey man, we're hearing some good things. Like, listen, you guys keep this up, you get your numbers up to here, and we're gonna come into town and we're gonna see if you guys are free. And you understand what that means. Because you were in Relevance, and we talked about this on previous podcasts, so I just want to glaze over this. I don't want to bog anything down. Relevance was part of the scene when showcases were a regular deal, and you guys had a showcase, and somebody came into town and said, the problem is we know you're friends with everyone. You're not actually popular. You're just friends with everyone.
Which is weird because we didn't have that many friends.
But you guys were incredibly good at networking, and you made everyone feel like they were your friend. You guys really had an uncanny, which nowadays would be fucking gold. Oh yeah. Nowadays if Revelant showed up, right? every label would be like, please, whatever you're doing, we want to be a part of it.
Do you want me to drop a little nugget on the Jared Ross? Or Jared Ross? I can just call you Jared Ross. Wow. All right.
I mean, that is my middle name.
I know. Jared Lee Ross. There's a little bit of rumblings about maybe finally actually doing a Relevance album and some other things.
No shit, huh?
There's rumblings, there's talks, but
right. Well, if you're not happy with the drums, I'll do them.
Well, it's kind of funny because essentially it's Kyle, Ben, and myself for sure. Like we're all like, yeah, hey, let's do something, right? And it might just be, like we released that trailer a little while ago, like the documentary. It might just be something that coincides with the documentary. It might not be a full reunion, but there's something.
I would love to do the drums for that, buddy. And you know that. And And dude, you know I'm a good drummer, dude. Especially for that style of music. Yeah, like, like, I can dumb it down when we need to dumb it down. I can flash when we need to flash. Yeah. So, it's not my job. There's 2 or 3 other people. It's their job. And either they forfeit the job, or you're unhappy with what they're putting forth. And then I would love to get that call, because I really think it would be amazing.
I mean, the short list, I mean, it's obvious is Gensmer because he filled in for us and stuff like that. That's like the short list. But
I always forget about Gensmer. Yeah. I was thinking about actual original drummers first.
Yeah, no, Jason doesn't drum anymore. And then Chris, I mean, as much as I love Chris, so he doesn't really drum anymore. But plus, that's what's kind of tough with that. Like when it's a band like that where there's almost like sort of 2 different eras.
Yeah, that's
it's
what
kind of like,
at.
What do you, and really the Relevance that everybody kind of knew wasn't really that first era, like those songs, and that I think we only kept one song from that
And I'm
era.
just going to be honest, man. I don't have confidence that Jason has his chops up to par. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to fucking say it. That was one of the big problems with the Dying Euphoria record is Jason didn't have a shit together. Jason couldn't play to a click. It set the record on a disaster of a chain reaction. And still to this day, The Faceless Unknown is a horseshit record, and it starts with them drums. I'm going to say it. I was on that record. I was in that band. I'm going to fucking say it. You don't have to back me up.
Well, I love Jason, so it's hard for me to
If you want to back away from the mic and pretend you're not a part of it, if you want to Homer Simpson your way into that fucking hedge.
It's hard for me because...
Jason played sloppy drums on that record.
Yes. I mean, yes. And there's 3 reasons I'm torn when it comes to that subject. Is 1, I know the reality of like what ended up on tape. 2,
great songwriter. He was a great songwriter.
I loved
He really was a great songwriter.
I've been privileged enough to work with some fucking phenomenal drummers over the years. I've never written with anyone the way I wrote with Jason. It was like, how like as a writer, like, okay, I know you're a drummer too, but you're also a guitar player and a songwriter. And, like you kind of have this vision of like how the drums will go. Not every little meticulous part, but it'll half time here, it'll double time here. You know what I mean? You kind of have that and usually as a songwriter, you have to communicate that to the drummer. I never had to communicate that to Jason. Like when I'd be writing, it's like I'd be kind of going over to him. Like I'd be about to be like, this is where and I didn't even have to because all of a sudden he was just like, whoa, boom,
That's what I was talking about with Ryan Smith from Soul Asylum. He was on the podcast recently.
Oh, nice.
And I was talking because we jammed before the podcast. And it was the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. Like it was like, let's just jam. Mm-hmm. And he was like, Okay. And at first it was a little weird. I even got him to admit that. It was a little fucking weird at first.
Yeah.
But once we were done, he was like, that was a great idea. I'm glad we did that. Because it immediately put us on the same page. And it was exactly what you're talking about. Anticipating, this is the end of this verse. This is the end of this bridge.
Yeah.
This is the end of that chorus. Like,
sometimes
we're
you
going to
just
build up. We're going to come down. Yeah. And it's just like,
I felt like I had that with you as a vocalist too. And I think that's maybe part of why I hold you to like such high regard as a singer, because it was
fine. I'll accept it.
And especially
I
when
still think it's hilarious. I'll accept it.
Especially when it was you and Jason in the band for like sort of that brief time together. Like for me as a songwriter, like internal band struggles, yeah, things were rough. But for me as a songwriter,
I feel you.
I was in heaven because it was just like this drummer fucking reads my mind. This vocalist reads my mind. Like that for me was beautiful when it came to that.
And I think what you're talking about, and I'm going to speak for you and correct me where I'm wrong, is I think you finally were in a situation where, I shouldn't say finally, because you definitely had this in Revelance, right? But in Dying Euphoria, it was the first time you had the majority of the band that understood, I wrote a chorus, this is the chorus.
Yeah.
This is the verse. And you didn't need to communicate that to anybody.
Yeah.
You would play a riff and everybody, including me, the drummer, everybody in between, would go, oh, that's the verse. We're going to write a verse.
Yeah.
This is the chorus. We're going to write a chorus. Mm-hmm. The guys that came before me, there seemed to be a struggle in that department.
Yes.
There seemed to be a lack of, he's like doing a repeat on the verse riff and then he's switching everything up on the chorus riff. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's not how you write good songs together. And it was so hilarious to me to join that band when I saw the relief in your face and in your personality. It was like, bro, this shouldn't be relieving. This is the expectation.
Yeah.
And that's what I brought to that band. Well, it was like, no. There's a minimum standard from now on.
But it's funny, too, because it's like, maybe you might remember that. I mean, I know it was a long time ago, but you might remember this from being in a band together. But like, probably, I would say if I'm going to pat myself on the back, which I don't even know if I would call it a pat on the back, but probably one of the weirdest things, or maybe the thing that's unique to me as a songwriter, is when I write a song, the only thing that repeats is the chorus. It's very, very rare that you'll hear a verse riff repeat or an intro or an outro. You know what I mean? Like,
there should be subtleties between the verses. Something.
There's, for the most part, though, for me, I'd go like, here's the beginning of the song, here's the verse, here's the chorus, here's the next verse, which is not anything like the original verse, other than the fact that it's in the same key. It's, whatever. But like, here's the chorus again. Here's the next verse. So like all three verses are different musically.
Right.
And I don't know why, but that's just how I've always written. I just, because I always kind of felt, I guess actually I do know why. As a listener, I've always kind of felt like, well, the chorus repeats. That's the cheeseburger part of the song. It's the popcorn movie part of the song. It's the dumb, like, we all sing along to this. Why do I want the verses to repeat?
Right.
To me, it's like I want the verses to be these like unique pieces that push the song forward and then bring you back to that comfort zone of like, there's my chorus.
Yeah, and your verses are your setups, and your choruses are your conclusions.
And I think prior to you, I don't know, it was just weird. I think maybe that might have confused vocalists a little bit. I don't know what it was.
I just think you were dealing with guys who were yelling into a microphone and they weren't writing songs. I really think that I don't think what I was doing was anything special.
I would beg to differ.
I think what I brought to the table, and this is what I said earlier, is I brought forth a minimum standard. Is like I didn't accept the compliments and the accolades. I was like, no, this is just what the job is, bro. Like, and even from other people, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're so good," and I was like, "Nah, I'm making shit up every night on stage because I was filling in. Remember for like 3 months, for like 3 fucking months, dude.
Yeah.
I wasn't even writing music. I was just like, no, this is just the part.
But once we started
it's so fucking obvious that this is the chorus that I'm going to sing something rhythmic and catchy, even though no one knows what's happening right now.
Prime example, The Faceless Unknown. I don't think I could have written a more clear chorus. And prior to you, it was like there weren't even any
It was
vocals.
pure fucking chaos.
There was no vocals even over the chorus.
And I refuse to take credit for anything positive happening there. Is what I'm saying is, look, I just did my fucking job, Jeremy. The guys before me were doing something weird and obscure, and it didn't make sense. And maybe it's high level art that's beyond our level of comprehension. Cool, fine, cute.
There was
adorable.
certainly, yeah. I mean, there were certainly interest, like Tad definitely came up with some like really cool, interesting
that
things.
was his name, Tad. Tad.
Like for sure, like
I kept a lot of his rhythms.
He had really cool rhythms.
He really did. He actually was prolific in what he was doing. He just had a lot of his parts backwards. That's what I remember coming in the evaluation.
He was kind of like, I mean, the main thing I remember with him was just like he seemed to have like an aversion to choruses. It seemed like every song, when it would come to the chorus, he wouldn't sing over that part. You know?
Yeah, he was
like,
writing like weird spoken word poetry that happened to take place over metal music while he was screaming at the top of his lungs.
I mean, like, you know,
again, I stole a lot of his rhythms.
His rhythms were fucking awesome. And then to do that crazy,
I didn't steal them. I just kept them because they were dope.
They were already there.
I honored him. That's what I remember saying that out loud to you. I said, I want to honor Tad as much as we can. Now that we're actually having this conversation, I actually remember verbally saying this. I was like, a lot of what he did was dope. He just didn't repeat it. Like, he gave up on ideas. He moved on too fast.
I think, I mean, a big part of it...
And I want to pay homage to what he did, and I just want to make what he did super catchy.
Yeah.
So I rewrote the lyrics because I couldn't understand a word he was saying, and I kept a lot of the rhythms he was saying, and I built entire songs around one line or two lines he said where I was like, that rhythm is prolific.
Yeah,
like I was like, oh my God, I never would have done that. And then I would take that theme he did, which was like a rolling three-peat. You know, it was like a vocal, it was like what I would refer to as a rolling three-peat, where he was always playing off the upbeat of whatever the guitar was. And I took that and I said, that's the theme, the rhythmic theme for the vocals all the way through. And then I would build entire sequences and beats around that. And then every once in a while, da, 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 I'd be like, oh, I should sing that.
Yeah.
Because that would be really cool. And then, Ryan, if you could harmonize this, or Jeremy, if you could harmonize, man, and we started really doing.
Yeah.
But basically, to get back full circle, where that eventually evolved to was you. Specifically you as the main rhythm guitar player and the main body songwriter. And this is no disrespect for Ryan.
No, Ryan, I mean, I think we all kind of know.
Ryan really was a pure lead guitar player who came up with a ton of riffs.
He was at that time he was more of a riffer, you know, and I was more of a songwriter.
And he was a pure lead guitar player. Like when he decided to write a lead or a solo, it was always dope. It was always dope.
Dude's phenomenal. Yeah.
But we're not talking about Rain right now. We're talking about you. So is what I thought was interesting though, is through that transition of you getting comfortable with, oh, this guy understands a harmony is happening here. Oh, I can do this. You started opening up to that. But as I left the band, and then eventually when Joe came into the band, is when you really finally kind of, what I would say is, came into your own.
Well, so you
really came into your own, Jeremy, and you really became a different type of musician. And I don't know if we've really talked about this properly on past podcasts, but I just want to say this, man. Like, I'm super proud of you and super excited for you. And a lot of people would be surprised that I'm complimenting you on this, because it was after I left the band.
Oh yeah.
But dude, that's that kind of lack of ego thing. Like, no, dude, like me leaving that band and you learning how to write songs with Joe. Man, I'm telling you, when I came to fill in, it was a different band. To bring it back full circle.
Yeah.
When I came back to fill in, we were a little sloppy. Mostly because fucking Tim's playing through the PA and he gave up his fucking bass.
There's a couple reasons.
That's the most reason.
We were also
That's the
jamming
main-
like every 2 weeks instead of like.
Nope.
Yeah, it was
The
just a
main reason
different-
is Tim's lack of a bass rig. That's the main reason. Number two is a less rigorous rehearsal schedule. But I was actually very intimidated, dude. Because the standard had been risen since I had left the band.
Well, what's funny
I
though,
finally had to step up my game as a musician. Like, I hadn't sang for 10 years. Obviously, I have to step up that. But I'm saying as a musician.
and just take it to another.
I really was like, these motherfuckers, like, they really did fucking some cool ass shit, dude.
Well, here's the funny.
I was really impressed. There was moments where I was like learning Joe's vocals and I had goosebumps and shit, dude. Like, I was like, dude, these guys are fucking good, bro.
Well,
like,
so here's what's funny.
I'm
though.
glad I left this band or got kicked out of this band because I don't think I could have written these dope ass vocals, dude. I just don't think I would have been that good.
I
Joe
challenge
was
you.
that good.
I would
Joe
challenge
was
you on
that
that.
good.
I would challenge you on that because I think
Joe was that good.
Joe is fucking. He's such a good.
When I give props,
melody.
I give fucking props, bro.
Joe is so great at coming up with melodies, but I wanna toss out there though.
You finally raped that one too.
I'm gonna keep sucking on it.
Look at mine.
I know, dude. I'm all like, better not let me suck your fucking dick because this is what it's gonna fucking look like.
It's a horrendous embarrassment of cigars.
So to fucking to put a exclamation point on that is the funny thing though is like it's cool hearing you say all that because like that actually all started internally when you were in the band because when I first started DE I was like what we ended up being that's what I wanted to be. Where we were on Veil of Tears, that's where I wanted to be. So like the few people who are like, oh, they kind of sold out. No, that was my vision when we started. When we started, I didn't have that around me. You know, I didn't have a singer who could do those things or wanted to do those things actually. Because Tad actually could sing. Like you'd hear him just like sing like away from like recording, and you're like, what the fuck, man? Do that here, you know? I don't want to. But then once we started working with you, that opened my mind up to where it was like, oh, like I don't have to carry the weight of the chorus anymore as a guitar player because we have a vocalist who can carry it now. So now I can write kind of more of these like big moving chords instead of I better make it interesting because what the singer's going to do is probably not going to be very interesting, you know? And that started me down that path of like, hey, like I don't have to it doesn't all have to be guitar driven.
Yep.
I can leave it open. So like the stuff I was writing when Joe was in the band, some of the nucleus of the Prove You Wrong was one of them that I actually started writing when you were in the band with your vocals in mind. And then, you know, obviously everything went the way it did and whatever. But like, so I had already started sort of that transition because I finally had the tools at my disposal to be able to do that, you know.
And Danny Z was the only speed bump in between me and fucking Joe.
Yeah, because I think
I'm not opposed to talking about Danny Z on this podcast because everything he did is my fault.
Well, you have to elaborate on that.
I created Danny Z.
What is?
I don't know. I don't know what you're
What
doing.
is happening? This is like a dog boner.
I don't know what you're doing with these cigars, Jeremy. I don't know how aggressively you hold them, but
so come on the Don't Be That Guy podcast.
I'm not worried about
be a man.
I'm not worried about how you suck dick. I'm worried about how you jack dudes off.
Ask Sully about that. When Sully had that fucking boner issue, I had to jerk him off.
Dude, my mom told me back in the day when my dog was having problems, she's like, you need to be a man. Swear to God. She said, you need to be a man and you need to get in there and you need to relieve that dog. And I looked at my mom and I said, that's not how this works. Well, and then like a year or two later, you told me about a similar thing. So walk us through this. So did he have the, like, okay, so I'm going to try to describe this. So dog's penis looks like this for the most part. It's a straight staff in their belly. However, what I'm talking about is they have like their actual penis up here, and then they have this like giant nut that shows up right here before their testicles down here. Is that what you're talking about? Or did it get stuck out?
Yeah. So what happened was...
So what had happened was...
Let me see if I got something that I can...
Use your sunglasses.
Will that fit? Close enough. Okay. So this is the sheath, right? This is the dog. This is the dog sheath. And then this is the red rocket that sits inside of it, and it comes out. And what had happened with Sully is it had come out so hard that it couldn't go back in.
Yeah, because he's got the little...
And so it was cinching on it. And actually what had happened was the skin, that the actual fur and stuff, it had kind of folded in. So it was almost like that. I'm doing that so the viewers can see. And
good.
And so his dick wouldn't go back in. And so then it was cutting off the circulation. So then it just kept getting fucking bigger. I mean, at one point, dude, I don't know if I even posted it. His fucking dick was so big. It was like that black dude sitting on the side of the bed with the fucking Barry Wood or whatever, right? Like this thing. It was aggressively it was aggressive, and I was
lost
like,
all our viewers,
dude. It was so fucking and yeah. So then I called the vet because I was like, so I was a combat medic, so I have like some medical shit that I remember, and so I was like, yeah, I'm like, he's got priapism, he's got a fucking boner that won't go back in. And then so they were like, all right, so here's what you're going to have to do. They're like, you're going to have to get some latex gloves and some lube, and you're going to have to work it until it goes back in. And I'm like, you want to repeat that to me, like, so I can record it, so I don't go to prison. And so
you called somebody?
I called the vet. Yeah, I called his vet, and because they couldn't get him in.
You need to jack off your dog. That's basically what he said, but not in those words.
Not in those terms. Yeah, and it was a girl too. She's like, you got to do this, and like, so I'm like, all right. And she's like, I thought it was a weird question. She's like, do you have lube in the house? And I was like, no, I don't. Like, I got Vaseline.
Do you have lube? Of course I do.
I'm like, I'm a lotion baiter.
Hell yeah, I got lube. I'm a spit baiter,
dude. I'm a fucking cocoa butter baiter, man.
Oh my god,
I keep that motherfucker smooth. But what's is funny is now if I put cocoa butter, like I lotion my face too, and then it gets me
kind of roused.
Well, yeah, it gets me kind of horny because I smell it. But anyways, especially when I think back to Sully. No. But so I'm like, I don't have this shit, right? So this is like noon on a fucking Friday, right? And so I run to the Cub Foods by my house because it's the closest place, and this is the place that I shop at like all the time. Like they know me there, right? This is like my local whatever. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go through the self checkout because I don't want like to draw attention to myself because all I'm buying is latex gloves and fucking KY jelly on a Friday afternoon. And so I go through the self-checkout, and of course, it's fucking whatever, what do they say? Something, unexpected item in the bagging area. I'm like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So then the girl comes over to help me, and all I've got is that, and her face is getting red. She's, probably like a little bit younger, like maybe like early 20s or something, and face is all red, she's uncomfortable, and I'm like, she's helping me. I'm like, oh, thank you, get it all rung up. And then I go to leave, and I'm just trying to get the fuck out of there. And I get to the sliding glass doors, and I walk too fast before they open all the way, so my shoulders end up taking them off the track. So now it's like fucking red light spotlight on me. So then I'm frantically trying to get these back on the track. The same girl who helped me comes over to help me get it on the track. I'm so fucking and I'm like, and the thing is like, here's the thing, I got two options. I either say nothing or I say this is for my dog. And clearly this is for my dog is like the least appropriate thing to say. And so we get him back on the fucking track and everything. And what does she say to me as I'm leaving? I shit you not. She goes, have a fun weekend. I'm just like, dude, like if you think I'm fisting somebody, you're sadly mistaken. Yeah. So then I get home, and then I'm looking at Sully, and of course he's still just got this fucking... I shit you... On a dog, about a 60... His fucking boner, the part out of the skin was about this big. It was just
to scale.
It was about that big.
Oh, wow.
I'll show you a picture. This thing was ridiculous.
Unless you put your hand in front of it, I won't believe it.
It was, I mean, okay, so maybe that's a little too big, but it was
It's more of a Monster Energy drink can.
It was big, for sure. I got
No,
pictures.
I know though, dude,
Yeah.
because I have a Chihuahua, and this has happened to him. I don't jack him off. I just wait. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. You gotta wait.
Sully's like, he's lucky.
But I'm telling you, like, he's a Chihuahua, and it's bigger than my thumb, significantly larger than my thumb. And when it piles out and like limps over, I'm like kind of jealous. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, you are 7 pounds.
Dude,
your dick weighs 1 pound.
Like Sully's, when this happened with Sully,
You
like
know what I mean, though? Like, I'm like, dude, nobody's dick is that big. No human's dick is that big.
Sully's, I would say that like Sully's, okay, now he's a pit boxer mix. He's about 60 pounds, right? At that point, his dick was like the size of like a big human dick. You know, not a Barry Wood human dick.
Imagine if your dick weighed 13% of your body weight.
That's about what he had going on.
Imagine if your dick weighed 20 pounds.
He was not happy. And so then I get home with the fucking latex gloves and the lube, and then I'm just looking at him. Well, first I was hoping by some miracle that this thing just would have resolved itself, which of course it didn't do. And so then I'm just standing there and I'm just like, I legitimately was asking myself, I was like, which is like the least invasive, if I get behind him and do this, or if I face him and do it?
Like, are you gonna mount him?
Yeah, and like, so I just kept thinking, like, if I got behind him, and I was like, that's kind of like a reach around, and that's like, that just feels more sexual. I was wrong.
Should you mount him?
I was wrong.
Jack him off and then rub his butthole a little bit?
Well,
like, just massage the taint? To see if he can
I thought like, so me thinking like, if I get behind him and work him like this, I'm like, that is gonna be way worse.
We've lost all the viewers.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna do it in front of him because it'll feel like more of a medical procedure, right? Wrong.
No,
we are face to face, nose to nose. He's breathing heavy, and I'm just going like this, and I'm just like, and the whole time, like, this motherfucker can even speak or understand English. All I'm saying over and over is, I'm just like, I'm so sorry, buddy. I'm so sorry. I just wanted you to be in pain anymore. And the worst part about it, you would think the worst part about it is being face to face with your dog, jerking him off. The worst part was, after all of that, it didn't make a difference.
It didn't work?
Well, it didn't matter because the skin was folded in, so he couldn't come.
There's no retracting.
There was no retracting. And
oh
so,
my
yeah,
God.
That one was about
I thought you were going to say once you made him finish, then he wouldn't leave you alone.
He was like,
That's what I
he was a stage 5 clinger.
That's why I refused to jack my dog off, because I was like, if I do that, he will never leave my side.
Just always. I did make him return the favor, though.
Little peanut butter on the
it's not
tape.
bestiality. I mean, it's just like one guy doing another guy solid. No, but yeah, and on the end of that whole,
dude, we lost all the viewers. We're done. We lost all the viewers.
I'd be tuning in if, but then, like,
I feel like on replay this will be the highest part, but on the live it went the other way.
Yeah. Dude, and like that, it's crazy, but like that whole boner fiasco ended up, that was probably, I think that was it was just under $4,000.
We're gonna have a solid 15-minute clip, and the title's gonna be, "How much do you love your dog?"
Dude, that fucking guy, man. But I'll tell you what, though, and like that's kind of my big thing with him is like, and you've seen it too, like,
oh God,
it's just one thing after another for him. But like he's always just this like loving, happy dog, and like, as cheesy as it sounds, I look at that sometimes and I'm just like, like, this dude, like, one thing after another with him, and he's just and it's just like, and like, what do I get upset about? Like, I don't have an autoimmune disease, I don't have priapism, I'm not, you know what I mean, like, all these things. I don't know.
No, I know exactly what you mean though. My dog, she's getting so fucking old, and her breed naturally has tooth issues.
Yeah.
She's got all of her back teeth rotting from the back out. Right? So, like, very shortly, within the next 3 years, she's going to be toothless. Completely toothless.
That can be a lot of fun.
And her back teeth are so rotted, it's bad. It's bad, and it's like, fuck, we should probably just go get them pulled.
Yeah.
But I already know, like, the way dogs work, they have a better quality of life with bad teeth. At this point, this isn't permanently true. This is not true going forward. But right now, she has a better quality of life being able to chew on things with bad teeth than if we removed all her teeth and then she can't chew on things. Because chewing on things for dogs are like us being able to do shit with our hands.
Dude, I want to comment on that really quick before we lose it, is that that's a really important statement because like so many of us, especially like animal lovers, right? We take our human perspective and we apply it to the dog, right? But what you just said, that's 100% correct. Like as a human, we'd be like, we need to get this out of my mouth or whatever. But for a dog, like that's not true. Right. You know what I mean? You gotta like, they don't have hands. They don't have, you know what I mean?
That
like
is their hands.
Their teeth are, So
their mouth is their hands.
You got to get to that point where it's time.
And honestly, I think we can do a beautiful wrap up here. I think that ties back to actually the don't be that guy / be a man idea, which is like remove your personal beliefs from yourself and stop applying them to the people around you as well. Projecting, so to speak, right? Like a lot of guys who think they're a man, and I do this too. I'm a victim of this as well. Or not a victim, but I'm a perpetrator of this as well, which is like when you don't meet my expectation of being a man, now you're a pussy. And I call you out on that shit. I'll be like, be a fucking man and do this, ... And I'm not always wrong.
But you're not always right.
But I'm not always right. Dude, I'm not always right, bro.
What you said there, so I'll tie it back, like you said, like a good wrap up. So fortunately with my day job, my career, I get to work with a lot of just very high speed individuals. And one of them that I work with, like he's done like leadership and development coaching with like NFL teams. I mean, he's like he knows his shit. And I was talking to him about the podcast that I'm starting, and he sent me an email back because he's like, I'd really like to be on your podcast. But the way he phrased this, I thought was really cool. I'd like to be on your podcast, the one that you told me about, that is about helping people become the man they want to be. And the way he phrased that, I was just like, that's really...
It's prolific.
Yeah, like that's what it is. It's not what I think is a man or what you think. Or, you know, it's like, what do you want to be? And like what... And how are you consistent? How do you embody all that stuff? How do you make sure that you know, I mean, I think there's some baseline stuff.
It really does boil down to a sense of self, though. But like all of these things boil down to the word ego, which is sense of self, right? Like, and to be a man is to have a healthy ego. Like, this is my final definition of this. If you're a man, you have a healthy sense of self. You know who you are and who you're not. If you're not a man, you have a distorted sense of self. You think you're something you're not. And you're regularly putting yourself in a position of vulnerability, including the people you love. And if you're a married man, if you're a father, when the reason we look at you and we go, nah, dude, you're a bitch, it's because you're constantly putting everything you have at risk just for your sense of self. But a real man is constantly willing to take a step back, including me. I do this on a regular basis where I'm like, listen, motherfucker, I know I could kill you, but I'm not going to say that shit out loud right now because I ain't trying to fucking have a fight right now, right? Because my wife is in the, like, I'm just trying to de-escalate this and like, listen, motherfucker, like, I may have a gun on me right now. Like, I'm strapped and you're a gangbanger. And I know we could fucking like, who's the bigger man? That's not being a man to me. Being the bigger man to me is getting out of that without dying. that is something that is absolutely lost on our generation. I don't think that's true on the younger generation. I really do think the younger generation is actually, as a whole, I think they're on the right track. I think this is something that has been lost between their generation and ours. And that's where I'm going to end it. You got anything last to say?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I don't know a lot of, I don't personally know a lot of like guys in that, in the Generation Z or whatever. So I can't really I can't speak to that, but yeah, I just think that we're in this, in general, we're in this transitory state, right? For people in general, societies in general. And we're maybe abandoning, it's like, what's that? Curling, right? We're sort of like kind of letting go of the old guard a little bit, but we're not really sure what this new guard is supposed to be, and we all kind of have different ideas, and we all kind of have different things, and we want to make sure we don't make the mistakes of the past, but at the same time, you got to be careful that you're not like creating pitfalls for the future too. You know what I mean? Like,
I think the best way to sum this up is something that Elon Musk said recently. He said, if we don't preserve knowledge at an absolutely maniacal rate, we will be the next civilization that forgets how to build the pyramids.
Oh, yeah, dude, by far.
Like knowledge and wisdom are easily forgotten.
And don't mistake that for education.
Knowledge and wisdom are easily forgotten. Easily forgotten. And it happens on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for us to actually become better in the future, we need to maintain all the knowledge from the past and continue to build a better future.
Yep.
I think that's the best way we could wrap this up, dude. I love you, man. I really do. I love you from the bottom of my heart, Jeremy. I think you're one of the greatest people I know. His link tree is in the comments. Subscribe to his YouTube channel. When's your first episode coming up? A couple days?
Probably. I wanted to do this first, hopefully get some traction, and then I was going to do sort of just like an introductory thing, and then roll.
So a few days.
There. Yeah,
a few days.
Probably
so
next week.
Go to Jeremy's link tree. It's in the description. Go to the link tree. You can subscribe on what do you have? Instagram and YouTube for the actual podcast. Right?
I've got what do I have? YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I do actually have like a podcast hosting place too, but I haven't used that yet until I get it rolling a little more into like an actual podcast. Yeah,
I got you. All right, go. You guys know what the fuck to do. Like, subscribe, share, blah, 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 blah. We don't need to tell you how to do your jobs. It's the motherfucking internet, and you're all adults. We love you guys. Have a good night.